On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will dive headfirst into the Acolyte's penultimate episode. What did Saul's story to May really reveal about the fateful Brendok fire? Was he justified in keeping his secrets for so long? What will May and Osha do now, and how will Kamir be involved? Are we even ready for the finale? All this and more on SWTS E317 with two of the biggest Disney Star Wars shills on the internet. Of course, the show will end with the Question of the Week segment and the latest round of Star Wars and all its features. Punch it, Chewie.
Hey now, everybody! Welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. Nick and I were having a great little pre-show conversation. Didn't want to stop, so those of you on the live stream got our patented, never-to-be recreated, bunked transition from the intro music. So, hey, you're welcome. If you're on the podcast and you'd like to check out the live stream one of these days, don't forget Wednesdays, 5 p. East, or as close as we can get. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Hey now, everyone in the chat. Jim the Knight coming in first with a big hey now, everybody, in all caps. Loving it. We got Joey C in here, Johnny Osage, B Mad Nova, Rory Schmidt even making the debut of E317 of the SWTS. Hey, B-Mad, now that I see you in here, brother, I got to shout you out. I mean, we shout you out all the time. You are our super fan. We love you for it. I need to send you a hat at some point in time. But this comment, hey now, my shill brethren and sister, is so perfect. I've got to tell people, if you're not a fan of our channel or subscriber or even a member of our channel, if you want to do so, go ahead and hit the buttons down there in the video description. You may have noticed over the past week or two that we now have a defender. We have our own knight. Our own, what are they called, Nick? Shit, you don't watch the show. With the white guards or the white knights to protect the king and queen in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it was the King's Guard.
There you go, the King's
Game of Thrones.
B-Mad is essentially a not fucked up Sir Christian Cole. Okay, if you're watching the show, you know what I mean. Christian Cole is a huge piece of shit in House of the Dragons. But I feel like B-Mad is out there crusading like a motherfucker against people that comment on our content. I don't even have to get involved anymore because B-Mad is out there punching, uppercutting, and reminding people that they're stupid. And we thank you. We speak your name, B-Mad. Gotta love it. There you go, the white cloaks. Thank you, Jim the Knight. So, hey, listen, we always shout out our supporters, good or bad. We may even yell at you sometimes on the live. But I mean, maybe he had a few beers over the past few days at night, likes to relax. But Nick, it's hilarious. It's like someone's in there, be mad. They respond, be mad. They reply, be mad. He's like, pop, 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 pop. Love it, be mad, love it. Yes, thank you for the trophies. They go up on the stream. All right, so before we get into the Acolyte E7 choice breakdown, we're going to have plenty to say on this one, my friends. And hopefully we'll clear up some confusion for some of you, maybe make some of you less angry than you need to be about what played out in Episode 7, and possibly assuage your fears for the finale. Yeah, be mad Colin. There's probably is an easy way to do Collins. I guess we could just do pipe people in through Skype, but
yeah, I'm not sure how everything works, but I know that I've seen other podcasts do
I think
call-in shows through Discord. Yeah, but I don't know how that would work with like getting our video feed up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it may also work through other methods.
Yeah, I've always thought about it. One of these days when we're out of season and we're just doing our kind of Tom, Dick, and Harry show, we might try to figure that out. But for now, B-Mad's just going to have to sit there and keep swatting down the trolls like a pimp offline. But like I said, we there's going to be plenty to say about Episode 7. I had a feeling this one would be highly polarizing, kind of like episode 3 was. And sure enough, it was. I mean, there's people out there that I tend to respect and still do respect their Star Wars knowledge and opinions. But these days, I'm just like, man, some fans are just asking for a little too much from a sci-fi fantasy franchise. But hey, that's me. We're not here to kick people's opinions around, but I would be lying, Nick, if it.
I'll kick people's opinions around.
Good, because I'm usually one that deals with the strangers. You just deal with them live on the stream here. But it's like, you know what? It was what I was saying. So it's like when you watch Star Wars, sometimes you just want to, have fun talking about it. You don't want to really get into someone's deep critical analysis like it was, the English Patient or some high-level drama, It's like, dude, it's Star Wars.
Yeah. And it's also like, hey, dude, like, I don't care about your deep critical analysis, for lack of a better term. Like, I'm not watching the show for your opinion on it. I'm watching this show.
100%. And this isn't me. I'm kind of, again, it's like, hey, I know you, you know me, we like Star Wars, what'd you think? So I'm opening myself up to this stuff. The user comments, I just get in every day and clear them out so I don't have to see them. I don't really pay attention to those anymore. That's a little too much. But when I do ask for people's feedback, like friends, and then they come in like, boo-boo, ba-ba, ba-bee, ba-ba, ba-ba, I want like the Phantom of the Opera. I was like, okay, we're just going to have to agree that we watch Star Wars with a different lens. You know what I mean? Like I tend to go into Star Wars not thinking that I'm going to get some highfalutin content. Like George himself in his
we
cast.
Never have.
Yeah, George and his cast, they even said like, hey, the dialogue's bullshit. Dialogue's not even that important. Just cool looking stuff. So, and I'm sure I'll get shredded for that, but who cares?
The closest thing to like high cinema Star Wars we've ever had, honestly, is probably Andor.
Yeah, 100%.
And like the original trilogy is like, the original trilogy is fun and great because it's simple.
Correct.
Like it's simpletons can watch it and be like, good guy, bad guy fight, good guy win, bad guy lose, good guy take over galaxy. Like it's the simplest shit you can think of. And then all of a sudden now people are like looking at Star Wars as if it has been this dissertation of all of this like high level nonsense, and it's not. It's like from the founder's mouth himself, from the creator himself. He's like, Star Wars is for kids, and if you are an adult watching it and complaining, then you should find other hobbies. Like
they don't like hearing that it's for kids anymore, though. So I guess we're not allowed to say that. But yeah, I just like, hey, whatever. We're here to celebrate what we liked and didn't like. I'm definitely going to be a little more critical than Nick, but I'm very far from how most other people that I've at least seen, our little home on Discord, they're all pretty like us. You know what I mean, Nick? They're in there like, hey, could have been better, pacing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, I can't really blame the pacing and that type of shit, episode length, on the show creatives, Leslie and her team. I can't. This is a Lucasfilm Disney Plus mandate to have, for whatever reason, 8-episode seasons that have episodes that are sometimes 30 minutes or less long. I don't think it's a good way to tell stories. Nick doesn't think it's a good way to tell stories, but it doesn't fucking matter. That's what we get. That's why the Acolyte in particular has been kind of choppy, ending on hard cuts. It's just like they come in and say, no, you hit 40 minutes. Stop! Okay, that'll be in the finale. Like, that's rough on the creatives. So I can't blame that shit on them, where a lot of people are just, hey, it's the writing, it's the talent. I think a lot of this, at least from the uneven pacing of the episode lengths and odd cuts of episodes, that's all bullshit coming from the money people. Okay.
Yeah. Josu says he disagrees that the show is for kids. Way too much sexual tension and weird demonic crap. I don't know if you watch young teen or kid shows nowadays, Josu. But if you don't, then you would be shocked. Like go watch Pretty Little Liars, which is a show that is about sophomores in high school that are being chased by killers and being in one of the primary storylines is that 2 of the characters in the show were raped. They're 15 years old.
Okay.
That is a show for kids.
Hey, welcome to the Star Wars Time Show, where we talk about uplifting material.
So like I just fundamentally disagree with you that like that this isn't a show for kids when there is way worse out there that is marketed to, designed for, and made for kids.
I mean, listen, I think George Lucas's Star Wars was definitely more geared toward like the 14 and under. Disney Plus has seemed to kind of try to bring some up into the MA, but it kind of still lines up with what I'm trying to say here. Like I think, and again, if this stuff upsets you, that's fine. We're not shitting on you. But it does seem like some of you want Star Wars to be like Oscar-worthy writing and screenwriting, and that's just that ain't the
Never
case.
How
you're not going to get that. So good luck.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I mean, Star Wars has won Oscars for, like, didn't they win an Oscar for visual effects at some point?
Back in the day,
yeah.
Star Wars has not been graced by awards for decades at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey. All right. Hey, don't worry. It's going to get more live once we get into the full Acolyte discussion. So before we do that, let's get to Ask Us Anything. Not a lot of movement this week. Instagram's been weird. Like, it opened up the floodgates for a little bit because Nick was putting out some inflammatory content for some people. But now we're shut down again. So almost no one saw our 2 question prompts this week. We'd love for more people to get involved. So the questions go up on Instagram. I guess I should probably start throwing them up in the YouTube community too. But anyways, we like to ask the fans to ask us some questions to kind of kick off the episode. So here we go, Nick. Let me pop these up real quick. I was not fully prepared. Some of these aren't even questions, so, you know, true to form for our fans, they don't quite read the fine print. Baron's Black Series, though, Spa Spency here, he's got a good one that I want to hear where you go with it, but he's saying Zero the Hutt wants a night alone with you. What price helps you forget your shame? I don't know what this kid was doing when he wrote this, but I dig it.
He was sleep deprived from being a dad, and it was just he wanted to throw something out there. Is this in credits or is this in dollar bills?
Let's go American ducats. So.
American ducats. Okay. I mean, Zero, not only is he just like a slimy Hutt to start with, but his personality is also slimy. I don't know, man. I don't know if there is I don't know if there's a price he could hit. $10 million.
What does the night alone consist of? It's not like he's saying we have to perform sexual favors on Zero. So is it just like, is it a night in the Hutt Slayer Leia outfit? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
You're just hanging out.
Do I have to wear the bikini, whip my titties out, and put on some brass?
Do I have to like massage his bot? Like what's the
rub his worm nuts? Like I'm assuming
what are we getting into here?
Hutts are kind of like lizards, so they probably have like hemipenises, which means they're like stuck up in a slit. So I mean, do we have to like jam our fists up there? Are we fisting Zero? I don't know.
What's the ask here? Because I think that also affects the price.
Yeah, if he's going for sexual favors, I've always kind of said this because, you know, I'm a goofball. And people are like, you know, what would it take for like a dude to blow you or you blow a dude? And it's always been like enough for me to retire and be like generational wealthy. So yeah, probably like, you know, maybe 30 mil, something like that. I think I can make that money last for a long time.
There you go.
You know, it's all about
30 mil for a night with Zero.
There you go. I'll do it. I don't give a shit. He's a Hutt, right? That's not gay. All right. Oh, here we go.
Not
Mando Pirate
wrong.
Mando Pirate saying Zero has both parts because they're hermaphrodites. All right, even
true.
better.
Good point,
dude.
Good point.
Even better. Well, then I'll do it for free if that's the case. Fuck it. Oh shit, that's a good one. All right, man, that one threw me off for a second. Next statement, I guess. And maybe we can respond to it. But SW Props here saying, I really wish they didn't leave it to the last episode to wrap everything up. Yeah, I mean, I can get down with that. I'm still holding out faith that it can be pulled off, but I'd be lying to everyone if I said my butt's not a little puckered up with a tinge of worry after getting zero catch up with the present timeline, meaning the finale is going to have to handle all that and the resolution. And if it's 40 minutes or less, it's going to feel like another zip, boop, everything's done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how everything goes. I mean, I think we got clarification on the Brendok situation now, regardless of, what people's confusion may be, which we will address when we get there. I think we have more clarity on the past. And I think that was a good thing to have covered up now, because
it informed the future pretty well. I'm with you, and we can dive into it deeper, but I feel like the May and Soul stuff will mostly be resolved through the flashback. Like, that was essentially him telling May the truth, I believe, what we saw in episode 7. So what we need to resolve, obviously, is the twins' ultimate fate, the ultimate fate of Soul and Q, and then Vernestia's piece of the puzzle here. Yeah,
I think that Vernestra, I mean, I don't want to get too much in speculation now. I think Vernestra is going to make it out alive. Vernestra is still in a situation where she has not a lot of information on what actually happened, nor what has been going on. I mean, they have not kept her in the loop. She's just trying to put together pieces from what she saw on KO4. Soul is 100% is dead, I would assume. And then now you're left in a situation where Vernestra does not have information. All she has is feelings. And we know that Vernestra's primary motivation right now is to make the Jedi look as good as possible, as this inquiry from the exterior is now coming down upon them.
Right.
So it's very easy to see how this show ends in a way where you're still where the vast majority, if not all, of the Jedi Order have no idea that there is a Darksider amongst.
Oh yeah.
Out there.
I think
it's very easy to see.
That's the easy part. What is unclear, and what I think it can be done, but I wish I didn't have to feel this nervous that it might not happen. But it's there are only a few threads that really need wrapped up. I'm with you. I think keeping it hidden from the Order, that's clear how that's going to go down.
Yeah, easy peasy.
But where are we coming at with Q? Does his master pop up? Is that even a thing, or have we just been headcanoning that shit? And the twins need to be resolved. Saul needs to be resolved. Vernestra, I'm with you. She can make it out fine and just keep that secret to herself. As we see, Jedi are good at doing for multiple years, and it ends up biting them in the ass.
Yeah, and hey, we know that they get bit in the ass in the worst way.
It's just, I mean, you can see, if the Brendok incident actually did get out and the Senate found out, right there, they got the Order cooked.
It's over.
They got the Order cooked. They're like, look at you, you fucking rogue assholes. You can't control your own people. They're out there making their own decisions, going against your own counsel. Fuck you.
So yeah, I mean, let's just review what the Jedi did, right? They're on a non-Republic planet. They're doing an investigation for we learned about a vergence of the Force, where it's this huge wellspring of Force energy that has an unexplained, just like Anakin, a huge wellspring of, and then they see that there are they see these two kids, and what do? They break into their compound, try to kidnap the kids, kill all the witches there, get out, think they kill one of the kids, and blow up the only facility with living people on this planet. So yeah, I really think that if anybody found out about it, all in the name of
noble intentions.
all in the name of Soul being a
damn near pedo.
Yeah, just this a connection,
I need
this
her.
Force connection with Osha.
He sees her, and within a minute he's like, I need her. I must have her as my Padawan. Yeah.
Just this unhealthy obsession with this child, that he has this Force inkling that is meant to be his Padawan. I mean, if it gets out to the Jedi Order that this, or if it gets outside of the Jedi Order that this happened, the Jedi Order is fucking toast. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's over
that's
for
all
them.
Clear. Hold on. We got Be Mad, We Love You Brothers coming in with a super chat question, asking us, what are the odds we get a live stream or walkthrough from SWTS of Star Wars Outlaws? I'd literally pay to see that.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, I'll just use the built-in whatever Twitch or shit or YouTube that's on Xbox and run with it maybe for a little bit. So you never know. I mean, it'd probably be B-Man watching, but we love you, brother. That is coming up, right? When is it? Is that August or?
I think that is.
I know it went gold a week or two ago. So
Yeah,
That means
so let's
it's
see.
shipping
August
out.
30th.
Oh, there you go.
August 30th, 2024.
And then, if
so
you pay double the price, you get to play it 3 days free. So I'm sure my dumbass will do that because I'm really good at wasting money these days. Basically lit off $1,000 worth of fireworks last Wednesday and Thursday, but it was awesome. Fucking
nice.
love it. 60 gram mortars, the only way to live. Perception of good can be as bad as bad. That is right, Lord Drift.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, props. I'm definitely feeling a little uneasy, but so far I've enjoyed the show. I don't mind the slow rollout. I don't mind the writing. I do agree sometimes the performances are off, but I really haven't had that feeling since episode 3. So I'm still, like I said, day one, I'm going to reserve any pop-off type of criticism until I see the whole series. Mark my words, if shit does not come together well next week, and I don't think it works, you will hear that. Okay? Even though we're shill. I mean, I can't believe how much money Nick and I have made these past 6 weeks shilling for the show. I wish we knew this was a thing all along. We would always been Disney shills. I'm almost ready to retire from my real career.
I know, right? I'm stacked up. I've paid off my house with Disney shill money.
It's crazy.
Paid
Disney's
off my
like,
truck
oh,
with Disney shill money.
An insignificant YouTube channel, let's pay them to shill our content.
Yeah.
A YouTube channel that
That's
barely
how
gets any views and just has 2,000 subs, that's who we want to invest in. Yes.
That is how shilling works, people.
You guys You guys figured us out. Fuck. All right, last one here coming from the Joe MC Cat. The only good thing Torben has done as a character is perfect the Anakin twirl. We think. Now that we got a little deeper understanding of young Torben, was he like just an overall putz, or do you have any empathy for him and wanting to go home?
No.
Yeah,
I do not.
Him and Saul are the ones that completely fucked all this shit up.
Oh, 100%. Like, here's what I'll say. Like, Indara did everything by the book as best as she could. She tried to take these two slapdicks and say, like, hey, we're like, oh, you found a little girl that has the Force. Well, guess what? We're not taking them. The council said not to take them. And not only are we not taking them because they're not ours to take, they're too old by any measure for us to take them to the Jedi Order and be like, here, train these kids.
She literally says, and these witches are weird. Like, we don't want to fuck with this culture, man.
It's like they're strange. And Dara's like, look, they're strange, but they're not doing anything wrong. We have no jurisdiction to do anything against these people. Are they weird and strange? Yes. But that doesn't give us any reason to go in and steal their children. Like, Indara and Kelnaka were the only two, and Kelnaka all the way through, and Indara up to a certain point, were the only two that were actually like there to do their mission and not fuck with these people. And then Soul just, you could just see he lost it as soon as he saw these kids. And
he's goofy. Like, Saul's got something wrong with him.
And you want me to be like, my honest opinion about Torben? Envy. Torben should have been kicked out of the Jedi Order long before he even got to KOTOR.
He's too fucking weak. Like, if you can't handle a mission on a planet, then you got problems.
Bro, like, this kid, like, he had to have been a part of the Jedi Order since he was like a baby or a young child. So it's not like he's brand new and this is something that he's never like. Yeah, I mean, come on. What I thought I was going to do.
He's probably right around where Kenobi was in Phantom Menace. He's probably early 20s, mid 20s, right? Torben?
I would even say younger than that. I would say that he's 18? In his like late teens. Yeah, late teens, maybe early 20s. Yeah. But yeah, like, honestly, if that is that kid's attitude, why is he still there? Like, this kid clearly cannot control his own emotions, cannot control his own actions.
He can if they remind him to beforehand, though. You remember when Saul goes in, he's like, hey, motherfucker, you better guard your mind. And he's like, hey, she's not beating me. I'm protected. And Korra's like, yeah, no shit. I was talking about this furry fucker behind me.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want you because you're useless. Like, why would I take over the weakest Jedi here? Like, come on. But yeah, like, I really do think that Torben should have been kicked out of the Jedi Order long before this. But this is also in line with what I thought about the Jedi temple that was on the first planet that we went to, where Torben was stationed when he was in his his meditation.
Where he kills himself. I know what you're talking.
Yeah, it's like, but I think that's also what they're trying to show is like the Jedi Order had gotten so big at this point in history, and it had gotten diluted essentially. Like they weren't taking the cream of the crop anymore. They weren't taking they were just taking.
That's right. There was that
everybody.
like obese Jedi man was there too.
Yeah. Who was treating this little girl who had literally like almost nothing to do with May breaking into the Jedi temple, like grabbing this girl by her neck and throwing her around. Like they're trying to show you that the Jedi Order at this time was bloated and the people that were in it were not always qualified to be Jedi. And that shows through Torben, and it shows through the earlier episodes where you're seeing the ridiculousness of these like backwater Jedi. Like, I think that like Torben was a joke, and the fact that he took the Barash vow was probably the best thing that he could have done.
Joke. He's like, man, I am a fucking clown, so I'm taking myself off the map.
And it's like this kid wants to go home so bad that his response is, let me jump on this speeder, run over to this facility where we know we're not welcome, even though I know that they're sending like that like the kids may be coming to us anyway, break in and then try to kidnap them. That's his fucking plan.
Yeah. Well,
like, this dude should be executed.
Yeah, we're getting a little too deep into the breakdown now, but I kind of took that rash decision as the influence he had with the mother being in his head. Essentially, she gave him the okay to want to go home, and she's like, I'm going to help you with that, and he figured that out. And hey, he's still an idiot. Listen, I mean, there's been a lot of good chat going through here. I love the one from Nova Toymation saying we should put on some mouse ears for a stream because that'd really get people going.
We get extra money if we have mouse ears on. I just don't have any at the house.
Be mad asking, did Indara intend to kill it? We'll get into that more. I do not think she meant to kill them. That's just an after effect of shoving like 30 witches out of your buddy's head. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay, well, Nick fucking hates Torben. Listen, like there's literally a cascade of calamity that happened with these four Jedi on Brendok. Saul 100% is the instigator. But even as we keep praising Indara for keeping her mind, what does she do every time she tells Saul no? She ultimately is like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and go along with your dumb shit ideas. So.
She just capitulates.
Right.
Capitulates.
All the way until the end. Like even at the very end, she's still trying. And then once they're on the ship, all the damage is done. Then she's the one that kind of is like, you know what? Fuck it. We got to cover all this up. Screw you, Soul. You're not allowed to atone for your mistakes. We're all going to have to suffer because of this. So yes, everyone, including the witches, Mother Coral, Anastasia, was at fault outside of Kalnaka. I will not place a single bit of blame on that fucking Wookiee.
No, yeah.
He was taken advantage of. He was always doing the right thing. He was quiet. He was cooking dinner. He was fucking, looking for landmine force shit. No, he doesn't get any blame for this. It's a goddamn shame what happened to him.
Yeah, it's fucked up that Torben Kalnaka got caught up in all of this, because if he wasn't with these three slapdicks, Kalnaka may still be alive in the prequels. Exactly. Thank you. And Tom, you are correct. That's why I'm saying Torben probably had to be in his 20s. Because if you remember, this event was 16 years prior to when we saw him killed. So he was more than likely early 20s, very late teens. Who the fuck knows? All right. Good stuff there from the Ask Us Anything. Yes, we are shill baiting motherfuckers, that's for sure. That's right.
All right, let's go ahead and switch things up here, get the lovely browser back up. Since we didn't have a ton of questions, we're decent on time. I just, I always like to give you guys some PSAs just in case you got littles out there, or hell, even if you like this franchise. But Despicable Me 4 hit theaters last week during the holiday week. Fantastic July 4th, by the way. Hopefully everyone else enjoyed. But if you like this franchise, might as well go see it. I love these little fuckers. I love the way they talk. I love Gru. He's got a little son now. It's a nice little story. go check it out. I think this week we got Twister and Fly Me to the Moon. Not sure which one I'll see, but I'll let you know next week. All right. One other stop before we get into full on the Acolyte, even though we're essentially doing it. We're doing it live. Fuck it, right? Do it live. But this popped up this week over on Reddit, and some of you may not give a shit. Some of you may want to apply. But Lucasfilm Animation is looking for a production coordinator to work on a new series, supposedly. So you know what that means, people. They're gearing up for another animated Star Wars, more than likely. When this was shared on Reddit, someone included a picture of the clones. So I was like, well, yeah, I could see that. I mean, we talked about that at the end of Bad Batch. I mean, you technically could run another series to, for whatever reason, finally fucking put the stories of the likes of Echo and Cody to bed before we get the Rebels. But just know this is out there. The fact that they're just hiring for it now means you probably won't get any concrete details on what this could be until next year, possibly at Star Wars Celebration Japan. But we are getting another animated series, so here we go.
There you go. I mean, I'm happy an animated series is coming back. Please, for the love of God, no more fucking clone shit or in between the prequel.
Maybe Asajj, right?
Era.
Could it be Asajj and Omega, or just Asajj?
I just don't want any more shit in the in between. It's so played out.
All right,
like it's just so played out to me. They have run this period somehow. They have run this period of time into the ground, and I just don't want to see any more of it. Like, use your animation to build out other eras. Like, I really don't care if you I don't care that you brought back Asajj. Like, you did that for essentially no reason in Bad Batch, and I just don't care enough about that character after she's already been killed for a whole animated series about her.
I'm kind of here with Devin and B-Mad. Like, let's go High Republic, Old Republic, even the sequel trilogy.
Anything else, dude.
So
anything else.
Post Rey. We still got to get through her movie if they ever make that before we can do post Rey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for any of it, just not in the same timeline.
Philippe, The Further Adventures of Jar Jar Binks. 100.
Sure, man. 100. Let's do a Jar Jar series and see how he meets his demise or something.
Like, this was personally painful, but if there's any swagoers out there, Galaxy of Hero motherfuckers, we just got the new Naboo raid, which means you got to sink a lot of shit, a lot of assets you've been building up in the like crap tunes. Guess what faction I had to pump up to like Relic 8? The fucking
the
Gungans, man. It's like, oh, fuck. And I still haven't unlocked my man Jar Jar. I think he's coming back in August. All right. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. I'm sure it's going to be about clones because that's where the highfalutin Star Wars comes from, apparently.
That's the high quality
High Republic. All right. Well, that's that, people. I put the link to the application in the live stream just in case anyone wants to check it out. I mean, apparently you just need to be 3 years of experience in production, preferably animation. So Nova Toymation, sign up, motherfucker.
Hey, yeah, I mean, that's not a high experience bar. So
yeah, I mean, listen, experience or interest in areas of animation, lighting, or effects. Does that mean I could qualify for lighting since I've lit toys before?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even. It's just experience or interest. You could just have interest in those things. I mean, honestly, I have interest in all of it. I would love to apply for this job, but I lack the 3 years of production experience. I literally have everything else.
You know what this is, though. You know what a production coordinator is. It's like one step up from PA, so you're essentially a gopher and a wrangler. That's it.
But hey, I'll gopher and wrangle all the stuff that they need me to.
I mean, I'd sit there and wipe off Dave Filoni's nutsack on set if that's a position, right? Official ball wiper. Fuck, I just like props.
Get me on the set.
Like Star Wars props. I want to be somehow tangentially tied to active Star Wars productions. Like, I would love to do that. So, someone apply for me. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll take it.
All right, buddy. Let's get into it. I mean, hell, we've already basically started waxing poetic on the Acolyte E7 choice. But let's go ahead and get your official take. Before you do that, don't forget, friends, earlier today out on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, I dropped my 10-minute deep dive breakdown. Once again, I am quite proud of myself. I know it's not going to get a ton of views. Some of these have been getting up in the thousands, which is fantastic. So check it out. Leave a comment. And if you're B-Mad, get ready to fight the trolls. But Nick, overall, how'd you feel about S1E7 here?
I enjoyed getting the rest of the story from Brendok. Mm-hmm. We knew that this is kind of where we were going with how episode 6 ended, with Sol telling his side of the story to May, and that's what we got. I'm glad that we were able to see this perspective. I'm glad that we filled in some of the gaps, and I'm glad that we have a better picture of what exactly happened on Brendok and how the fuller story of Brendok now affects the rest of the story that we've seen play out so far. Mm-hmm. You know, like, why did May have such a hard-on for killing these 4 Jedi? Well, now you see. Now it's pretty fucking clear.
She literally watched Sol off her mom.
Yeah, like, she watched Sol kill her mother and then essentially watched Sol do the same thing to her. Like, she sees Sol. Like, they know that they're being held up by this Jedi.
He's holding both bridges. I'm not sure why he didn't just go for the humans. I feel like they'd be a little less taxing in the Force.
Just, you know, like, obviously it's a moment of panic. You're just in there and you're trying to do as much as you can with as little time as possible. But, like, she literally watches Sol just drop her to her assumed death, and then watched Sol kill her mother. And then she see, like, these Jedi break into their home. Like, it's not like these Jedi were welcomed in and then walked in. They broke in twice. And the second time they broke in, they killed her mother, and then and then one of the Jedi mind fucked and killed the rest of them. Like, if I was May, I would want to kill these people too. 100%. Like, it like, the motivation for May is clear as day.
Hold on. Be mad with another tip here. Hey guys, Disney executives wanted me to remind you to mention on how much cooler Osha and May is than Luke and Leia.
What's the dollar amount on that? Can we get a clarification?
Yeah, what's the going rate for saying that? Be mad.
Yeah,
couple hundy, 1,000. Okay,
but hey, here's what I'll say. Like, May's, like, it's never been more clear for me why May wants to do what she wants to do, even regardless of her connection to Khmer or the dark side or anything else. If somebody walked into my house and killed my whole family in front of my eyes, you better bet that I'm going to have some animosity.
Yeah, you might be a little messed up. You might thirst for revenge a tad.
Yeah, like, unquestionable. So I think that, like, a lot of motivation questions have been cleared up for me on the May side of things. A lot of, like, you know, what really did the Jedi do here is very clear now. And what, like, to me, the Sol angle of it, and I don't care if people get mad at me when I say this, because I don't give a fuck what people think about my opinions. But the Sol angle of it and his immediate connection to Osha feels a lot like Qui-Gon Jinn's angle when he first met Anakin. Like, Qui-Gon Jinn meets this 9-year-old kid on a backwater planet.
Gets a hard on for him.
Yeah, on this backwater planet he's never met before, and is immediately like, we got to take this kid. He knew Anakin for less than a day. Like,
I feel like Qui-Gon's much less creepy though, right? Like,
what? Much less creepy, for sure.
Like, he goes about it a little more cool, calm, and collected. He definitely cheats worse than Saul does to get Anakin, but he's not as overly creepy, like desperate. Like, I gotta, Osha, I need her.
The desperation in Soul was creepy for sure, but it was also like, you can see why. Like, they tested off the charts and M count, so he can feel their power in the Force. Mm-hmm. Like, you can do, like, Jedi Masters can, like, you can feel that power, and he felt that power and connection to Osha just like Qui-Gon did with Anakin. So, like, for people out there, like, well, where did it come from? Where did it come from? Where did it come from for Qui-Gon Jinn? Qui-Gon Jinn had no fucking clue who Anakin Skywalker was before. And then here's the same story that Soul did. They have no father. Like May has no father, Anakin has no father. They both test off
Nick,
the charts.
we now know it's all
like,
it was all Virgins based anyways. Like the Jedi were on that planet not for the witches. Like you know how we initially speculated they were there to fuck them up. They knew it. They didn't. They were there because this planet was supposed to be dead from the hyperspace disaster of the High Republic Phase 1. It's not. So they think there's a Virgins in the Force here. It's literally almost verbatim what happens in TPM, just way creepier. And a bit more like Jedi fuckery.
Yeah, it's like Soul's instability and his inability to control his emotions, which is like, I mean, he was a young Jedi master. Was he considered a master? Did they call him Master Soul, or did they just refer to
back in the past? He's believed to just be a Jedi Knight. Still.
Yeah, so he's not even a master yet. Like he is a knight who has trouble controlling his emotions, and it leads him down this path where he essentially commits genocide, or like him and his compatriots essentially commit genocide against this coven of witches that literally wanted nothing to do with them. It's not like these witches were fucking with these Jedi. They were doing as much as they could to keep them away from them. Right. In fact,
Quiku's making a great point here.
Pretty crazy.
Soul wanted a Padawan, and Dara also teased him about it too. Maybe he got passed on because he was too emotional. The same thing that caused Osha to leave the Jedi, maybe. Yeah, I mean, listen, I picked up on that too. I still think Soul was even beyond too excited, too emotionally invested, and I found someone that can be my Padawan. It was weird. Way over the top. I mean, Qui-Gon, if we're going to keep making that comparison, he was very level-headed. His driving force wasn't, I need a Padawan. It's like, I found the fucking chosen one, assholes. Yeah. You know what that means. We need to cultivate this.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that when we meet Soul again in the present timeline of this story, does Soul have a Padawan?
No,
not that I'm aware of.
I mean, it's kind of made clear that he's not ready for one yet. When Indara's busting his balls, it's like, yeah, dude, it's kind of reason you don't have one of these because of the way you act and you tell them the answers instead of letting them discover on their own. You wouldn't be a good teacher.
Exactly. Like when they're doing the test, she's like, you coached her. That's why she passed.
Right.
Like, would she have passed on her own? Probably. But you sat there and you told her what to do.
And that's my point on Indara. Even though she kept trying to make the right decisions, she enabled his bad behavior from the start.
Yeah.
She does. As the leader, as the master, she enables it all the way till it's out of control to where she has to then also herself pretty much compromise her values and set in motion the lie that fucking kills all these people and fucks up the twins and possibly gets the Sith via Khmer on their heels.
Yeah.
So bad move.
Yeah. I mean, like, and the thing is like, honestly, the best thing that Indara and Kelnaka could have done at that point was just been like, you know what? We're fucking leaving. Just leave them. Just leave those two fools to their own death. And then expel them from the order. Like, that was the most Jedi thing that they could have done. Is just been like, look, these two idiots ran off on their own after they were told multiple times not to do this.
Left and they gave up on them. Yeah.
And I would have called the order back because she had just talked to him and the order literally told her
it's a no.
Do not do anything with this. I would have called them back and said like, hey, these two fuckheads ran off after I told them what you said, and now I'm leaving them. So
that would be awesome. Like, fuck my responsibility as the team leader. I can't control these idiots. Saul's been off the rails since we got here. I'm out. Peace.
Because there's nothing good that could have happened from them two showing up there.
Yeah.
Like, she drops Kelnaka into this thing to essentially do damage control. And like, what's damage control? If they got into a fight, then Kelnaka has to get into a fight too. So there's no good way out of this. Like, the best that could have maybe happened is you have some sort of like
Torben crashes his shitty speeder en route to the stronghold.
Yeah, like
and just dies.
Just like it was Indara's emotional connection to Sol and Torben that led to all of this as well.
Right.
Like if she could have just been like, you know what? The Jedi Council just told me not to do this. These two people went off with that knowledge that they said not to do this. What should I do as the Jedi Master here? Not put myself in a position to make things worse.
She should have, like, you know how Jedi, they can kind of knock people unconscious. She should have, like, shot him with one of those things. Pinched a nerve in their neck or something. They're just like, load them on the ship. Kelnaka, grab their fucking bodies. We out. See you.
Josu says that the council's lying, but he doesn't give any reason why the council's lying. He just thinks that they're lying because he doesn't think that that's what they would do. Right. But that's the thing. We have no reason to believe that the council didn't tell her no. And reasons why the council would have told her not to fuck with this anymore, like the kids are too old. This isn't a Republic planet. You have no idea who these people are. You have no idea what they're doing with these people, or like you have no idea who this coven is, what they are, or what they're doing, and they're also not hurting anybody. Like if there was a reason to believe that this coven was doing something that was like harmful or dangerous to the Republic or to the people of the Republic, then sure. But these are a group of people who have chosen to live in isolation away from everybody else and practice their own religion in the way that they so choose without having any sort of outside influence or harming or messing with anybody else outside of their coven. So why would the Republic or why would the Jedi Council be like, yeah, go fuck with those people? They have no reason to.
Bat's right here. It's the Prime Directive, Jim, right? You can't fuck with the Prime Directive. If you know Star Trek, that means if you land on a planet where the culture's been untouched, you don't fuck with it.
Yeah,
you let them be. And that does sound like what the High Council was suggesting. Like,
yeah, just leave these people
You've already
alone.
gone too far interacting with them. Stop it.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah, from the first interaction when Mother Anastasia tells them, we're not a part of the Republic, so why are you here? Like, you can't exert your. It would be like a United States police officer going over to Italy and trying to make an arrest on somebody who is not breaking Italian law. Like, what are you doing, dude? You have no jurisdiction here. You're not even supposed to be here in an official capacity. And even if you were, you don't know our laws. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like Bat's saying here. Saul really was the one that kind of overextended the mission. So Josu's asking why they send them there. If that's true, they sent them there to investigate the vergence of the Force on that planet. Right. Like they
and investigate does not mean go break up a coven of witches and steal their children.
Yeah,
it is to
you got to remember
find out what's happening.
The only reason that happened is because Saul, after seeing the girls, decided on his own to go break into their coven and spy on them. It made a bunch of assumptions about their culture and what they're doing.
The Virgins
comes back and goes, "Hey, I think these people are gonna kill these little girls for some reason. We need to go help them." And even then, Indar's like, "Fuck you. We're not touching that." She's like, "No, really, they're going to hurt them. You got to trust me. Let's go."
You literally have no reason to believe that. He saw 4 seconds of an interaction out of context and then had no clue. He saw something that he did not know what was happening.
He's like, "Oh, they're training their children, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look nice like we do."
Yeah.
It's like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah,
he was telling him a story for sure.
It is insane.
Yeah.
The overreach of those two, Soul in specific.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he is the instigator. Then when they almost had shit cleaned up, Torben, thanks to his mind dance with Anastasia, can't control himself, and for some reason, Indara sends the crazy guy after him to stop him.
Yeah.
Like, no, she should have been like, Saul, you and Kelnaka get the fucking ship. I'm going after my Padawan that's about to fuck up. But no, she's like, I'm going to send the guy that's made a ton of bad choices about these twins and these witches because he'll do the right thing when he gets there.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. The door's locked. Torben's like, oh, fuck it. We're screwed. So I was like, nah, fuck. We'll just scale this bitch. I've already done it.
I've already done it. Break the fuck in.
Yeah.
No big deal. We'll just break into these people's houses that we have no business being at.
Good times.
Man.
Well, I guess that's Nick's review a little bit. I mean, we're all over here, and I appreciate it. That's because we're getting great action here in the live stream chat. Don't forget, if you want to join in Wednesdays 5 p. East, or as close as we can get, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. So real quick for me on my just general review, and then we'll dive right back into just fucking talking about whatever. I mean, I've got places we need to go, but we're having fun just kind of riffing with the livers right now. My initial notes right here, I really, and we've been talking about it a lot, I really appreciate how this episode portrayed the Jedi just thinking they're doing the right shit, but just cascading it into a cacophony of fuck by the end. Like it just, and in particular, I wrote Indara. Like I really liked watching her go from the voice of reason with Saul to the ultimate decision maker, and the one in my mind that essentially sealed their fates with the big lie. I do think if they would have went back and told the truth, none of what is happening in the present would be happening. Okay?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So to me, and this is an interesting question I put out in my own review, like, who is ultimately to blame then? Is it Saul or is it the boss? Usually the bosses are the ones, and she did make that fateful choice, even though Saul made 500 other ones before, but she's the one that decided in the end, no, we are going to cover this up. We're going to tell a clean lie. It's not even a full lie. It's a clean lie. You know, it's somewhat true, somewhat not. May did technically start the fire. We now know it wasn't on purpose, but yet she did. But May definitely didn't kill everyone, and Dar ran with that. So it's a clean lie.
Like, it's a lie of omission. You know, it's like, oh, we'll tell you what you need to know, but we'll leave out the parts that really make us look like assholes. Like, because if you, like, realistically, if you go back and you say, you know what, we fucked up about as bad as you can. You take your licks, somebody gets kicked out, probably Torben, and then you move on. And then
the Order probably would have sent a contingent to Brendok to check on the fallout too, which they possibly would have found May and the person that finds her. Is it Coral? Was it Kamir? Kamir's master? Who knows? But clearly someone picks up May after the debacle and starts overly programming her revenge. Yeah.
I mean, I just think that, like, we tell them the truth, as Indara says. Like, if you actually told them the truth, it would not be this bad.
Yeah,
like,
her reasoning, people, again, it's like you can tell Indara by the end was fucked. Like, she was all screwy in the head. I mean, she's ready to fight. Her and Saul are at each other's throats.
Yeah, I mean,
she's like, why the fuck did you do this, you idiot? He's like, I had to make a choice. And she's like, like, really getting ready to choke him. And Torben's like, master, like, chill.
Dude, like, if Indara would have chopped Soul's head off right there, it would have been justified. Like, she could have literally gone to the council and said, like, he went rogue. He caused the death of an entire clan of people that we had no business messing with.
Hell, she just say, hey, I sensed some darkness and had to fucking Luke Skywalker him.
Like, if she would have killed him on the spot, she would have been justified. Like, it's just unbelievable how crazy shit spiraled down.
Yep.
Like, once they left that camp.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we shouldn't do this, but then they do it. We shouldn't do this, but then we do it. And every time it's Saul is the one that convinces them. I mean, even when they get to the temple the first time, or the stronghold, and Dar's like, listen, I should be the only one to go in. We don't want to freak him out. You know, I guess I'm female. I'm the leader here. He's like, no, there's too many. We send us in, make it look imposing. Let's really antagonize these fuckers.
Yeah, like, intimidate these people that we've never, like, his stance was, hey, let's intimidate these people that we've never met before and we have no reason to believe would be aggressive towards us. Right. Like,
so I mean, I like I said, I really enjoyed how these Jedi were portrayed, and I think Josu was in it. I'm not accusing Kel Naka of any of this.
Kel Naka,
innocent bystander. He just got fucked by circumstance there. And you can really make the argument that the reason every one of them ended up kind of breaking their programming and not following the code, fear. Right? Fear is what screwed with each one of them that made really poor choices in this episode.
100%.
Saul's fear for the twins, specifically Osha, right? And Dara's fear of, for some reason, Osha not being able to live her dream as a Jedi. That's why she was willing to compromise her values. You know, Torben's fear of never leaving That's why he fucked up. Again, Kalnaka, nothing. He's just there fixing shit, making dinner, and kicking ass when possessed. All right. But here's some of the negatives, since we have been somewhat positive here. I was with Nick. I think it filled in a lot of gaps. But just like I said last week when I was kind of teeing off what we were going to see, and I nailed it. But if you remember, I had a caveat. It's like I really will be concerned if this episode is a full flashback. I feel like we'd be shortchanging the momentum we have going with Osha and Q. And that's what we got. And yes, I am a little disappointed. Do I feel like it completely ruined episode 7? No. But like I said earlier, it does leave me a bit uneasy moving into a finale, which very well could be shorter than what we just watched. And we know what short Star Wars finales can produce. Book of Boba Fett, Bad Batch Season 3. I mean, it's like a thing these days. And it feels like they try to like, all right, we're here. We made it to the end. Zip, 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 zip. Everything's tied up. And it's like, is it going to work? Can that needle be threaded? I have faith, but that faith has definitely been chipped away a bit because this episode completely failed to set up anything in the present timeline to deliver us into the finale next week. And last but not least, another gripe, the speeders looked like absolute shit.
Really?
I mean, we're talking like Return of the Jedi fucking VFX, and maybe that was on purpose because they were in like an Endor-like forest, but my God, people, like Nick, I know you're very positive with this show, and that's great. Go watch some of the speeder scenes and tell me that looks like 21st century VFX.
I'll have to rewatch it because I don't remember anything about the speeder scene other than he jumped on it and then rode away.
It's like Saul's the first time she sends him off on his own. That's where you really kind of get like the wonkiness of the speeders. But then when they all leave at night, or when he chases Torben down at night, it's like, wow, ooh, okay, must have ran out of budget on that one. But listen, I don't really let that stuff affect me because my Star Wars movies are from the 70s and 80s, so the effects these days are about as practical as they get. I still appreciate them, but modern people would probably look at that and be like, what the fuck? How did your imaginations even process this stuff? So there you go. That's kind of my quick take on it. We've been riffing left and right, Nick, so we might as well get in the top moments and kind of see where that takes us. You never know. First one I had, and listen, this episode was hard to kind of identify standouts outside of the very clear one towards the end with the big hairy guy. I mean, come on, how could you not mention that? It's something very new and fresh. But I did run with, and you might think this was weird, but I really appreciated how they portrayed Mother Anastaea's infiltration of Torben's mind. You know, we were even wondering in episode 3, how did she do that so fast? And was it just her? Was it all of them? Well, we now learned it was her. And she actually was in there doing very Sithy-like things. She was the devil, right? She was telling him exactly what he wanted to hear. You're a great Jedi, but you're not allowed to, do this or focus on that. And what do you want? Just tell me what you need. Ask the question and I will make it true for you. I loved how it was filmed. It was kind of trippy, kind of horror-like. She's popping in and out. She's up close, then she's far away, then there's two of her, and she's right in his face. And she eventually gets him to essentially, and I'm assuming she needed this, or maybe she didn't because they got Kalnaka, or maybe that's why they need the whole coven to take him over. But once he gives her permission for her help, that's when we see him being taken over in episode 3. So I like that there was almost like time stopped for these two as she was working the weak Jedi over. And I do think her planting those seeds in his mind were purposeful, but they backfired on her, right? Because he's the one that ultimately comes, and because he's nuts and thinks that he can get off of Coruscant by proving the virgins through the twins, that's why they break in. That's why conflict breaks out. And that's why when she tries to stop it and freaks people out, Saul's like, oh shit, the fuck are you doing? Stab! And there we go. So I do think it was purposeful, but she miscalculated what her manipulation of Torben would actually do for her progeny.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many like instances where like the Jedi, specifically Soul, react in a violent way towards things that they just don't understand. And it's like, you can't do that. Like, you can't just be like, I don't know what's happening here, so I'm going to stab it. Like, what? It's like they were so fucked up, and it may be by like the vergence and that like the powerful force energy that was going on, the fear and everything that was going on, like in that area. Like, it was just such a, to see specifically Soul and Torben and how fucked up they got. Like, it was a really interesting. Yeah, it was just super interesting to watch that all play out.
I dig Anna say. I know some people think she's very poorly written and contradicts herself, and I don't. Like, I mean, we can talk about her death, and Nick, I'd like your perspective on this, because I think some people are like, it didn't make sense, but to me, by the time Mother showed up, like, a lot of people going, well, why didn't she just say, hey, I was going to let her take you anyway? The tensions were so fucking ratcheted up. By the time she got out there, she had to like keep her partner in line from starting a war.
Yeah.
She had, again, she doesn't love the Jedi. She's not happy they're there to take her kids. So she's not like instantly like, oh, good, you're here. Here you go. Everything's good. Shit was getting nuts. She comes out. The place, unbeknownst to them, is literally burning down and about to explode. One of her daughters runs out and is like, Mama, help me.
Yeah,
like, if you're a parent, what the fuck are you gonna do when you hear that? And you have to believe she was also hearing Osha's cry for help through the Force. So once she sees May pop out, and you gotta remember, dummy here, Saul's like, oh, that's Osha.
Yeah, see,
so
immediately screams
Mother
Osha.
goes Mama Bear and is like, whoa, she starts this phase shit that's kind of wild. You notice May starts phasing. So I see some of you in the live stream saying, yeah, what's this, taking one being and split it into two through a vergence. Well, maybe this is it. Maybe she was going to use that power to phase into May, or phase over to her, or to protect her somehow, or to phase both the twins back to her. Because I do think there may be something at play here with the vergence and taking one being and splitting it into two with the phasing. And listen, I'm not going to get mad at Saul for his reaction either. What would you do if you're standing next to a lady and she turns into a smoke demon?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, it's like you were saying, like, all of this reaction is fear reaction,
right?
Like, it's.
But a lot of people are like, she makes no sense. Why not just tell them that you can have? Well, listen,
like, I really wish that some people would understand how hard it is to have a conversation when everything around you is just in chaos.
Crazy.
Like,
you got fuckers on the bridge with bow and arrows pointed at everyone. I mean, shit was tense.
It's not like she just walked into a room where Soul is sitting down nicely and like they got a cup of tea out and they're about to have a conversation. These motherfuckers literally broke into this woman's house, and now there is a fire that is about to get into the electrical system and explode the whole base. Like, can you have a calm conversation when your house is on fire when somebody just broke into it?
It's not even that. Like, any parent, like if you sense or see your child is in distress, you are going to do whatever it takes to alleviate that for them.
Panic mode, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're in hardcore, like, oh my God, I have to get this fixed in the fastest way possible mode. And then you're looking at this guy, you're looking at a Jedi who just broke into your facility trying to steal your kids. Let's have a calm conversation now. Let's sit down on the ground and really talk this out.
I don't know what Phil's disagreeing with. Phil, I'm pretty sure that's what we're saying, buddy. He's saying,
no, yeah, we're agreeing.
It might be
there's no way that you can have
maybe it's a lag thing. Like, I'm not. My point, Phil. There's a lot of people saying Anastaea's writing was bad, like she was conflicting or contradicting herself. And I'm like, no. Like, listen to the scenario, that scene, it was like a fucking Wild West showdown. Someone could have dropped the credit and there would have been bullets flying. Like that. That's the level of tension we're talking about.
Yeah. We're like, I think we're in agreement there, Phil.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like there was no calm in that situation. It wasn't going to happen.
Saul's reaction is completely justified because, like we said, he thought it was Osha because he's a moron. And he saw someone turn into a particle demon bitch. Like, yeah, I'm whipping out my fucking laser sword too and fucking jabbing it at the smoke. So
yeah, like his reaction to that is totally fine because it's a pure fear reaction. He knows he's not supposed to be there already. he's already he knows that he is so far gone from what his mission was on this planet that like every move that he's making now is a panic move.
Yeah.
That's all he can do.
What's funny, Nick, right here, without thinking, what does he do? He strikes an unarmed opponent.
Yeah.
What does he then proceed to do with Mother Coral? He won't fight her. What was that about?
He realizes how bad he fucked up. He's like, I just killed this unarmed woman. And it's like, now he's like stricken with like, there are so many emotions running through Soul in that moment. Fear, guilt, like so many other, like uneasiness, the knowledge that he has now broken his Jedi vows. Like so many things are running through this dude. There was no possibility of him making good decisions. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, he's Bat's got a good point here. This is a prime example of a small white lie snowballing. Yeah, big time. So much so that again, we are seeing the embodiment of the downfall of the Jedi through these three right here. This is it.
Yeah.
Rash decisions, making choices on emotion. These are all things that lead to the galaxy essentially celebrating their genocide.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
I dig
can
it.
you imagine that? Like, can you imagine if anybody on Brendok survived, you know, long enough to see the fall of the Jedi Order? They would have a fucking party. They would like pop fireworks and be the happiest people on the planet because these people that came and almost destroyed our society now have gotten their comeuppance. Of course they would be happy.
Like Kwiku said another thing, and I'll ask you, Nick. I mean, Mother Coral's still on the table, right? Like she's on the fucking game board somewhere.
She's somewhere, and I see what Kwiku said, and then also what somebody else said. Like, what are the League? What are the chances of Coral being Khmer? I mean, I can't, you know, edit that out. I can't shoot that down because I don't know what level of their power there is. But like,
they could have linked up. We know Khmer is way older than he looks. It's very clear that Mother Coral, Nick, I mean, some of the spitballing we did after episode 3, like, hey, what was she doing on that walk with May? It's exactly what we said. She pushed her out. She was forcing May to get angry, to get worked up. She said, you know what you got to do? Go fucking keep your sister here. Get angry. She smashes the lock in. Like, Coral is full of hate and dark side for the Jedi. And she's the one, even with her partner, she's like, listen, bitch, I told you over my dead body, these people are taking my kid. So she was, as we predicted, her little contingent of antagonistic witches, they're just as culpable for the ultimate demise of the Order as Fuckhead and Fuckhead Jr.
Yeah. I mean, and BMAT says here, Osha said that her mother had the ability to get in people's head like Khmer. I mean, yeah, it could vary. Like, Coral is not out of the picture in this show yet. Like, Coral definitely has the possibility of playing a very huge role in this final episode. Mm-hmm. It's unclear, but she's the only one of the Brendok witches left on the table. Like, there's none of them left. And we also know that she was the one that had the biggest problem with the Jedi. Oh, yeah. So, like, it would not surprise me at all if Coral was somehow involved in this scheme with May and Khmer to kill these 4 Jedi.
Yeah, maybe even from, behind the scenes, who knows? Like, I'm going to use May the way I was trying to use her that night. Like, she is going to be my tool to exact revenge. And what did the witch phasing kind of look like, Nick? What is something Sith can do? Essence transfer, right?
Essence transfer, yeah. Essence transfer.
That looked as essence-y as it gets to me, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, clearly... I mean, and the thing is like, Mother Anastasia, her reaction was to May, and she hears May say, "There's a fire." Like,
literally, help me, Mama, help me,
and she's trying to go, and help her daughters. And what does Soul do? He's like,
"Oh shit, this thing's scary looking." Yaga, yeet. It's like yeet.
But like, again, like you like, it's so hard for Soul to understand what's going on. Like, I mean, like, can he be blamed? Yeah, but like, I can't blame the reaction that he had, you know? Like,
100.
I can't blame the reaction that he had to seeing what was likely the first time that he's ever seen somebody do this before.
Yeah, I that's a fair statement, dude. 100%. Because they're like, I mean, he calls them a force cult early on. It's very clearly established, even though I got something on Easter eggs. It's still a little fun in terms of Night Sisters, but it's clearly established that they're not Night Sisters, right? So,
yeah.
All right. Let's move to the next top moment, and then we got plenty of eggs and ha's to get through. And as always, our lovely live streamers are keeping things popping down there. But the next one, like I've seen the chat, some people didn't love it. I'm sorry for you, but it was hard not to get a little excited for the Kalnaka v Soul v Torben fight.
Good.
You know, through piss poor trailer editing, we knew this was coming, and we knew he'd probably be possessed, so that wasn't any surprise. But just seeing a live action, fully grown Wookiee Jedi Master wield the Force and his lightsaber with gusto, like uncontrolled fighting. Like we're talking, he's not using his Jedi stances and shit. Like he is bonkers because he's possessed. It was awesome. Like the level of power from a Wookiee Jedi is insane. And it begs the question, why didn't the Order abduct more baby Wookiees?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, go get more Wookiee Jedi. Like, that shit was crazy. I loved seeing that fight. And I think that the fighting style that they chose to portray for Kalnaka was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
He overwhelming power.
Like he's swinging it like Vader, you know? I mean, it's very precise, broadsword type of strokes. He's not trying to twist and twirl shit. He's there to knock you the fuck out, smash your head. I mean, Torben's lucky he just got scratches on his face and a busted eye. I don't know how his skull didn't cave in when he had him.
That's what I was
pinned up against the wall, dude. And he's like, oh.
He's lucky his head. Yeah, he's lucky his head was not in multiple pieces by the end of it.
I got a great still up on the stream. If you want some stills from the episode, go hit up our post on StarWarsTime.net. But yeah, I mean, it took everything. It took all three Jedi to finally quell this motherfucker. And, you know, that kind of leads into a little caveat to this top moment. And, you know, it sounds like some people did miss this, but I really don't think Coral phased into Kalnaka. The fact that they kept showing the entire coven linked in arms and doing the black eye ceremony, it was pretty clear they needed that amount of power to control the Wookiee. Yeah, which in turn, it took that amount of power to bust them out of their head, and therefore, Indara did indeed nuke every single witch that was involved in the possession of Kel.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you the power required to take over the minds of different levels of. I mean, Torben is a shitty Padawan, and he got taken over by one person. Granted, it was the Mother Anastasia, the leader of the whole coven, but still only took one. And for Kalnaka, a Wookiee Jedi Master with seemingly a very strong mind, took the whole coven to really take him over.
Big time. And then, like, I mean, who knows what Indara had to do, but it seemed like the amount of power they needed to control him.
Yeah.
Then, you know, kind of like opposite poles of a magnet. Indara pushing back. I mean, she essentially melted their minds, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if like she went into that going, I'm going to kill these fucks. She just knew this is what I need to do to free this dude's mind, and whatever happens.
And that's the thing is, like, she's not concerned about these witches at this point. Like, she's concerned about Kalnaka, because also she knows that what can Kalnaka do? Kill everybody in this whole motherfucker. Like,
oh, here you go. Here's Kung Fu coming up with some nonsense for you, Nick. I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, so
that's the shit I literally would never even worry about. Like, who cares?
He says we're going to ignore Jedi searching for virgins with metal detectors and juicers. So Ryan, what would you use to search for a virgin? So you have no idea what that means.
A tuning fork.
Like, not only do you not know what a virgins is, you don't even have, like, what would you use to search for one? Why are those tools so weird?
Yeah, it's like, listen, does it look? Was it a weird introduction to the episode? Maybe, but that's still nothing that
But like, do Jedi not use tools all the time?
Yeah,
they use like Why don't they just extract blood with the Force?
What's more troublesome than using like blenders and shit as a Jedi is the speeder VFX. Like that's something where I'm like, okay, that does take me out of the sci-fi fantasy. I know, intern. We're just playing with you, dude.
We know, but it's just funny that
that is some of the shit people get worked up over. It's like,
yeah, I would say that's
really?
The real thing is that like some people are out there actually being like, oh, they're using metal detectors to look for the Force. It's like, bro,
you're watching the wrong stuff. If that's the
go shave your neck,
you pick up on. All right, so yeah, getting through Kelnaka's fight into Indara's mass murder. Do you think she knows they all perished from that move? Because it's not 100%. It's not like she saw them, you know. So
100%.
Okay.
Like that's kind of like the echo in the Force. Like when you feel like even like I know that it was on a much larger scale, but like you know when any Jedi feels somebody die. Whether they be Force user or not, like Obi-Wan Kenobi felt the death of Alderaan, but obviously that's billions of lives. But also like like other Force users have felt individual Force users die. So when an entire coven of Force users die at your hand, she definitely knew.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Well, hell, I mean, you can go back to Order 66 when Yoda is up on that perch on Kashyyyk and he literally, it's so powerful he drops his cane.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it almost knocks the little guy on his ass. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Eggs and references. We did get some interesting ones here that might spark some conversation. But real quick, anyone else? Opening shot coming over that plane. You see those stone structures?
Dude, that's what I was going to say.
Did that remind anyone else of Cetos and Peridia from the Ahsoka series?
Cetos and Peridia, and also Tython.
Tython, right?
Like Tython from Mandoverse stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it's like that was a very purposeful opening landscape shot, right? Like I don't think this goes anywhere, but it was kind of a tip like, hey, this planet is special like the other ones you've seen this shit on.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to see that like this planet may have been a hotspot for Force activity before its destruction or the tragedy that happened with the hyperspace disaster.
So I mean, you could argue, Nick, then that the vergence in the Force on this planet has probably been there forever, and that's why these stones ended up here, because either the Night Sisters coming from Peridia, early Jedi, whatever, they felt it too, and they're like, all right, let's set up one of our fucking crazy teleportation temples here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right. I didn't know if anyone else kind of, because I look at stupid shit, not like blenders and stuff that the Jedi were using to test for the Force, but this kind of stuff, I'm like, was that on purpose? Is that just like a little tip, like, hey, this planet's not what it seems? All right, and we do learn ultimately, because initially I was writing down questions, why are the Jedi here? And we learned, well, they're looking for a vergence because this planet should be essentially looking like Navarro from The Mandalorian. Just dead.
They were under the assumption that the planet was dead, and then they see this spike. They see all of a sudden they see this spike in the Force, and they're like, "Oh shit, what's happening over here?"
But there's people here, and there's twins, and Saul goes nuts. It all ends when Indar fucked up. She sent him on his own to go scout the river, and here we go. Okay, next one here, and I briefly mentioned this, but Brendok, as we just said, was supposed to be a dead planet, and the reason it was a dead planet is because of the hyperspace disaster that is... Does it precede the beginning of Phase 1 High Republic, or it's the main thing of Phase 1 the High Republic?
It's what kicks it off. Yeah, the Great Hyperspace Disaster is
and essentially, they were setting up all these new routes or whatever, and you had this Starlight Beacon or something, and... Starlight
Beacon was... Yeah, so like they're building like new hyperspace routes out into the Outer Rim are being forged for the first time ever. Yeah. So like this is the first time that like core worlders and stuff like that were able to like forge
out to the mid rim and the outer.
Exactly. And then Starlight Beacon was essentially a space station that was built as a hub for people to go to when they're first making their way into the Outer Rim.
So does the station blow up, Nick, and then it just like ripples through the roots the roots like essentially tear solar systems apart?
So Starlight Beacon's destruction wasn't what caused the Great Hyperspace Disaster from the beginning of the High Republic. That happens later in the High Republic. Okay. What caused the great hyperspace disaster in the beginning was this ship called the Legacy Run, they were in a hyperspace route coming from the outer rim into the core worlds, and it collided with something in this hyperspace route, and it essentially just shatters the ship, and you have all of this ship debris traveling at hyperspace into the core worlds and just causing fucking
just
chaos.
ripping them up. And in the way they kind of make it out in this show is it destroys the ecosystem. Like, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got, if anything, you got to appreciate this series right here, this episode in particular, kind of going balls deep on the concept of a virgins in the Force, which is it's the entire concept of Anakin Skywalker. I mean, when Qui-Gon brings him to the temple, they're like, you believe the virgins is this boy and not a place? Because that's Jedi's, I guess the conception there, the thought was a virgins is a place, Force is centered around this place, and you can do wild things when that happens. And Qui-Gon's postulating like, no, this motherfucker is a virgins himself.
Yeah. I mean, there are natural virginses in the Force as well, like on Tython.
There you go. Tony clearing it up. They ran into a Nihil ship.
A Nihil ship. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, I'm super dumb on Star Wars words and shit, so I need help on that stuff. Just don't have the time for that. I need to read House of the Dragon, because that's some read material right there. All right. Next one, this was a kind of a dumb one, but Nick's favorite Jedi Padawan, Mr. Mopey Dopey.
This guy.
I don't like anything. I want to go home. Why are we here? This isn't important. I don't like Nuna legs. Well, Nuna they're essentially the swamp turkeys of Star Wars. You've seen them in Mandalorian. You've seen them in, I think, even some Galaxy's Edge promo material. They're like these little green chubby things that have big legs. You can chew on their drumsticks. So you got that. Hey, Kung Fu, we're with you, buddy.
Dude, I agree.
This whole Lucasfilm Disney edict of it's got to be 8 or less and they can't be longer than 30 or 40 minutes, I think is a detriment to storytelling in the TV format. It makes no sense. And it's, you know what it is? It's money shit. So
it is. Yeah. It's money shit. I mean,
it is a bummer, but hey, here we are. We just got to hold out hope that next week fucking sticks it. And I'm more with Kung Fu, where I'm nervous about it because there's a lot to kind of get to before we wrap shit up. But hey, if you've had faith so far, let's hold strong. If they fuck it up, we will light it on fire next Wednesday.
Yeah. Hey, I'm fingers crossed that we get season 2. I'm enjoying the show. I'm enjoying the story that it's telling in a timeline that we've never explored before, and giving us context into what we see happen in the prequels. I mean, because that's what this era is really kind of built around. Is like, how do we go from the High Republic to the downfall of the Jedi in, a matter of a couple hundred years?
Not even a couple. Less, like 100 on the dot or less than. So yeah, good shit there. Hold on, I gotta let out some gas. All right, we've talked about it a few times, but the reason they are here is they are searching for a virgins in the Force. As we said, that lines up with everything Qui-Gon was doing in The Phantom Menace with Anakin Skywalker. So no need to really keep going into that. Torben gave us a Night Sister drop, right? When Homeboy gets back from his spy mission. We also, and this really isn't an Easter egg, I just wrote this down. We learned through Indara that Night Sisters didn't raise younglings and train them. And I think that is true. It's like I don't know if you have to like age and be age appropriate, or you just show up there, who knows? But they did not train their people like Jedi, apparently. Torben had a few references for us, especially right before he went nutty and screwed everything up. Right, he reports we get the use of M count again. So sorry, Maker, it looks like your midichlorian term is no more. It's M count. That's the new canon. Let's light ourselves on fire. How could they do that to George? It's midichlorian. M count, stupid. No one knows what it means. And let's be real, M count sounds cooler, okay?
It does.
But he also mentions the symbionts. And I don't know if people understand that also was mentioned in The Phantom Menace when I believe Qui-Gon explaining to Anakin how midichlorians
Yes.
work within it. It's this symbiotic relationship. So interesting stuff there. And that his Torben's revelation, like, no, people, listen, this ain't right. The only way this happens is unnatural science. And I think that's what pushed Saul even further to, all right, now we really got to figure out what's going on with the girls. And it also, I think, chipped away at some of Indara's armor for trying to do the right thing. Once she learned that, then she's like, okay, well, yeah, we have now discovered the thing we were here looking for, the virgins, and it may involve these little girls. So maybe we do need to kind of handle this situation with a little care. But then her Padawan goes nuts. Do you think Anaseia's mind infiltration had any impact on Torben just rushing off like that, or was he going to do that regardless?
I think it probably played a part. But it was pretty clear that this dude was looking for a way off before Anaseia had even really messed with him. So I think that having Anaseia say having Anaseia say 4 hours long, having Anaseia say, like, you can, like, I will help you find your way off, and then him also being like, wanting to get off desperately, and then seeing the link between, like, she can help us get off because she has the way for us to get off. Like, that was really kind of like what sent him off. He was like, okay, Anaseia said that she would help.
He just literally goes nuts. He's like, I'm out of here. See ya. And then let's send the OG crazy guy after him to make sure he does the right thing. Good job, Indar. Good job. We understand it stands for midichlorian. I'm just saying it seems midichlorian is dead in the lexicon of new Star Wars. They're not willing to say the full word for whatever reason. All right. So that covers that one. And then, hey, we got a nice, I know some people didn't love the line, but you kind of get that prediction from Anaseia to Saul and Torben, like, hey, your noble intentions of your order will ultimately be their downfall one day. And it's like, yep. Yeah, you nailed it, lady. You nailed it. And it's hard to say that, I think in their heads, especially Saul, I think he does think he was doing something noble in trying to save Osha from whatever perceived crimes he thought that her family was going to do to her. But it's dicey using nobility when you really see what these 3 Jedi plus 1 ultimately did, and justifying it in each step of the way. Like, oh yeah, well maybe this, well, oh shit, could be virgins. Oh well, hell, you heard. I mean, I wrote this down. It's like May actually gave Saul a gift with Indara when she literally says, "Oh, ascension means they lead the coven." But I don't know how. Mama said everyone must walk through fear and be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny. Yeah. So yeah, and Dara's like, oh shit, maybe Saul was right. Like,
and then also like you have never, like, you've met this girl one time, and you also know that she was told to lie to you.
Right.
And then like you haven't, like, they, like, while the witches were cold to you as they should have been, they were never out, like they didn't threaten to kill you. Like, they didn't do anything outwardly violent towards you. And then you hear an 8-year-old child who has been instructed to lie to you say that everybody must be sacrificed, and that's your justification.
Yeah, and she, like May truly understands, or we even understand what that meant. Who knows what it meant? I mean, we could say with this virgin shit, maybe it truly is. They were going to phase into their mom, or she was going to absorb their souls like Palpatine did with Rey and Kylo. But when an 8-year-old's trying to relate something an adult tells them, they don't know the meaning of what they're saying.
Exactly. And we've never heard any of the actual coven members say that. Like, we've never heard Coral or Anaseia or any of the other coven members talk about sacrificing people or whatever else. Like, even in the ascension ceremony, they weren't talking about sacrificing. Like, it was that had never come up before. Yeah. So like, it's crazy to think that, like, they acted so, like, harshly off of an 8-year-old's words that were told to lie to them. It's crazy. And they knew that she was told to lie to them. Like, they knew that they were told to lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Well, that's like I wrote this down, and I want to talk about it a little bit, and it just shows you again, like it's almost like Soul was manipulating Indara because she knew everything he was doing. Like, she calls him out. She's like, "Hey, that was a good plan to say we need to test them so we could delay time and actually get our orders from the council." And she's like you said, she's like, they're way too old. The Witchers are way too weird. We can't do this. It's a bad idea to intervene. Yet he convinces her again. He's like, no, she's meant to be my Padawan. Like, I know this. I know more than you. My emotions, which we shouldn't let drive our mind, our actions, because we're Jedi, are telling me that she is mine. Like, he was already goofy. I mean, and she knows this. Like, Indara knew Soul was bonkers. Even after testing Osha, she goes, you fucking gave her the answers, dude.
Yeah, it's like, you took this, like, why didn't you do that with May? Like, if you're gonna do that, do it with both of them. Like, be fair.
He even asked, he's like, hey, can I try something different?
Yeah, it's like, why? Like, they knew right after May left. They were like, okay, they told her to lie to us. They told both of them to lie to us. So why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you treat both of them the same way? It's like you said, it's the emotional attachment, his inability to control his emotions when related to Osha.
There you go. Philippe is he's fucking nailing it right now. I'm going to put this one up. Any fan of the PT or an OT complaining about the quality of the dialogue in this is thank you.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
we don't like to say that stuff out loud, but that's exactly what we're saying.
It's so true, dude. Like, the prequel trilogy has some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard.
How could this happen to us? What, Jedi?
Yeah. Like, some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard in film, not just Star Wars stuff.
I could wish all these feelings away and stop wishing about wishing. So let's be real, man. It's Star Wars. Like, get over it. It ain't Shakespeare. You turned her against me!
There we go.
This is like some people are empire!
I feel like we finally found a group of people who understand that, like, Star Wars was never Shakespeare.
I'm telling you, we, like, through this show and the fact that we are shills, we are reaching new audience members that are like, holy shit, there actually are Star Wars channels out there that are more than just rage bait and bullshit. Like, we've been trying to tell you all. Like we talk like we're in a fucking bar, we're sailors. But for the most part, we're not here to fucking shit on Star Wars.
No, it's like we're comparing Star Wars to Star Wars. Like, I'm not out here trying to say that Star Wars is Dune, should be like, or Star Wars is this high art stuff. I'm comparing Star Wars to itself most of the time.
Yeah, like, it's just I don't know. Like, and this is, I say it over and over, but it could be two fucking turds hanging from strings with a white backdrop and Nick voicing both of them. If it's an entertaining story, 2 thumbs up. I don't fucking care. I don't. I really don't. And don't get me wrong. If next week fails in my mind is a key word, I will let you all know. Yeah, I will let you all know how it will essentially tarnishes the 7 episodes that came before it. But we're not there yet, so no flamethrowers. Not today. We
can't do it yet. I mean, just go listen to the final episode breakdown of Bad Batch, because I laid into that motherfucker.
Yeah, like, Nick was done. By the end of Bad Batch,
was awful.
He was done trying to be positive. He's just like, fuck this show.
It's like, the show was bad.
Fuck Hunter,
and I was like,
fuck old Omega. They all should have died. Screw you.
I gave it chances. Like, there were episodes that I thought were better than others, but overall, I thought that season 3 of Bad Batch was terrible. And I'm not coming at it from an angry fan perspective or anything like that. I give you my justifiable reasons why that show was bad.
All right.
And we'll do the same thing with this one if that happens. Of course.
I mean, call us shills or not, I don't really know what that means. It's just, so far our opinion has been favorable with some critiques here or there, but I just feel like this is a show you cannot judge with finality until it is all revealed. And I am worried. Okay? I'm worried. I'm not just a complete fucking homer for this stuff, but I'm also not going to get all angry until I know what happens.
Yeah.
It's not Shakespeare, it's shake his beer. I like it. All right. Great chat again tonight, people. We appreciate all you
chat's on
showing
fire.
up and going
Chat is
nuts. I
on
love
fire.
it. It makes me feel special. Like Tinkerbell, my wings are growing and I'm ready to fly again. All right, dude, we got I got a lot of left. I don't know. I think we probably covered a lot of it. How did you like? I kind of like this insight from Indara, and it hit pretty hard. Like when she comes out and she has her answer from the council and lays it down, and Saul's still pushing back. She's like, "Listen, pal, you're trying to change this person's destiny because of your emotional attachment. That is fucked up. You need to stop that shit." And I think she might have had him there, but then Dummy pipes up with the M count stuff, and then he puts 2 and 2 together with the virgins. Hey, that's my proof. I'm out, and then obviously she loses the room. But as we discussed already, Saul is mirroring exactly what Qui-Gon did with Anakin. I mean, Qui-Gon changed Anakin's destiny fundamentally and with cheating.
Yeah, 100%.
You could argue Saul didn't cheat. I mean, he definitely overstepped a lot, but he didn't use his powers to influence their fate. He kind of did with Osha at the end, right?
Yeah, a bit. But he definitely made that decision for Osha.
Yeah, so there's a little bit there. But I mean, they both of these Jedi, after they realize, like, wow, this thing is different. I need this in my life. They, through their emotion, made the choice to fundamentally change their destiny, which again, to me, sounds kind of anti-Jedi, unless they're little babies and you take them, then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, the thing is this is, like I said, this is the precursor to Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin Skywalker, except the fate stitching that Qui-Gon did led to the downfall of the entire Republic, and the fate stitching that Saul did led to the downfall of those particular 4 Jedi and the death of an entire coven of witches that were, as far as we can tell right now, hadn't done anything to fuck with anybody. Like they wanted kids, they got the kids in whatever way that they could get the kids, and then they were very happy to just live by themselves. But these Jedi, specifically Saul and Torben, were not happy to allow that to happen. They had to go and kill these people. I got
another kind of question for you, Nick. Want your insights towards the end? All right, when Saul's in there, he kind of knows that they're virgins, they're freaky, and really when he's talking to the mother, all he wants to know is like, yo, how are they created? Do you think by that point Saul shifted to, I'm more concerned about their genesis than I need Osha? And here's my last point. After Indara kills all the witches, she, for the first time, goes to Saul, we need the twins. And he first goes, but like, whoa, we know they're unnatural. I kind of took it as that. Or did you think, regardless of them being unnatural or not, he was committed to getting Osha as his Padawan?
I think that he was committed to Osha regardless, for sure. But he was definitely happy that this little, that their high M count and like accounting for the virgins connected to them, because now he was like, well, now we can justify it. Now we can justify everything that we've done through this. It was more of a point of justification for his insolence and his inability to control his own emotions than it was for anything else. But yeah, I think
I like Tom here with making an astute point, but maybe it was their destiny to change somebody else's destiny. Okay.
Oof, hey, yeah, maybe so.
That's where things get funky, and I almost need to eat some shrooms or smoke a bowl to really chew on that one, Tom. Thank you. And I was just about to mention that league. I mean, Saul did make a Sophie's choice there at the end with the twins. I mean, I have that written down. Like, Saul specifically chose Osha over May. I saw some debate, like, why was he supporting the bridges and not just levitating the girls? Hey, shit happens in Star Wars, you know what I mean? Why does a guy that had his body cut in half and lived in a trash dump for a few years come back to life? I mean, shit just happens like that.
Yeah. Why is Palpatine electrocute himself so much, but all that happens to him is his face melts? Like, what? There's a lot. Here's one from
Philippe here. Sure. Why doesn't the Coven reveal to the Jedi how the twins were created? What's the secret the Jedi can't? I think that's part of the pie that we still don't know.
Yeah.
And it's teased in episode 3 when Coral looks at the mother like, hey, yeah, you had a hand in their creation, but if the Jedi find out what else was needed to do this, we are fucked.
Yeah, I mean, even if it at its base level is just manipulating the Force themselves
That's so
to create life.
Jedi and how you should use the Force if you're not Jedi.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Like, but there is assuredly a third party that came in, and I think what their worry is that if they know that if the Jedi know that they worked with some sort of third party who is likely linked to a darkness in the Force, then the Jedi would have ultimate justification to wipe them out because they would have been cavorting with dark presences in the Force.
All right. How about this one here? Indar at the end, making that choice, Nick. Do you feel it was her covering her own ass as mission lead and her Padawan being heavily involved in the fuck up? Or is she truly just trying to do right by Osha, as she says?
I think that doing right, like what she did was nothing right by Osha. Okay. She was trying to cover their own asses. And then she realized, she's like, I'm fucked too. Like, I killed all these women myself. And it was literally like, before it was like, hey, we have some shit to talk about with your inability to handle your own emotions. And like, that's one conversation to have that doesn't have a wider reaching kind of consequence for the rest of the group here. But now that we have committed genocide and kidnapped children, there is a larger scale cover up that needs to happen here if we don't want some really bad repercussions for ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was self-preservation to the maximum for sure.
Tom here. Indara seems to be obviously the strongest Jedi of the whole group that was at that event. Why would May challenge her first in the first episode, in your opinion?
I think one, she was probably the easiest to track down. I think that a lot of it came down to like who do you have easy access to? Clearly Torben was a little bit harder because he's taken the Barash vow and is locked inside of a Jedi temple, so it required some sort of manipulation and infiltration. They didn't know where Kelnaka was. And then Sol, I think, was like...
She definitely wanted to save him for last because she saw him kill her mom.
Yeah, like Sol's the most personal.
Yeah. Like
Sol was the most personal. So I think it was ease of access to Indara. And then also like Indara was the one who killed all the other Coven members. Like Sol like killed May. Like Sol was responsible for May being in the situation that she was, but like Indara en masse killed all of those Coven members.
Yeah,
so I think it was like ease of access for sure, but also like she was the one who did the most destruction. I think if you look at it from a perspective of May, who is solely focused on retribution and revenge, like who did the most damage? Indara did.
Yeah. And listen, I'll just kind of add to it because it's opinion based, but you could also argue Kamir funneled her there. I mean, he was clearly giving her the targets. He was scouting the targets. He was telling her what she needed to do, how she needed to kill him. So you could probably imply that he had a hand in the order of the kill list as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, you got it, Tom. Okay. Well, hey, the other point now, you remember in episode 3, we're like, man, Saul is really fucked up as a Jedi to tell a little kid like, yeah, there's no hope. We can't go back. And now we know why.
Now we know why.
Why. It was his boss essentially saying, shut the fuck up, asshole. I mean, did everyone else saw the look, right? He even looks at Indar one more time and she gives him that very nod, like, yeah, you better say the right thing.
Yeah, it's literally like, you are lying to this girl right now. And this is the first time of many that you will tell this lie.
Damn, Philip with another good one. Live streamers killing it today. It's going to be a longer show than I thought, but I like this. Hopefully in episode 8, we'll find out the purpose of the big hole in the ground with which the witches were chanting into. I'm going to bite on that because it's been shown multiple times now from different angles. What is that? Like, I'm with you. It's like it's almost been, I mean, they showed it from Saul's perspective when he's spying. We got in episode 3. Why do we keep looking at this? What's the significance?
Yeah, is it like a wellspring of like force? Is it like a specific area where they can like draw the force out of, or the thread out of?
Tony Midget, his headcanon is saying that he hopes it's the Cthulhu in there.
Cthulhu,
yeah, however you say that
there.
I didn't say if you want to keep it Star Wars, but kind of like whatever that thing is, it could be the Summa Verminoff. That's the big like Star Wars Cthulhu thing.
Cthulhu thing.
I just read one of the shitty Vader comics where he kind of takes one on and with his Kyberite staff literally blows his shuttle right through its guts.
Nice.
But yeah, the Star Wars comics these days, I'm glad they announced that they're coming to an end for this period, because they've gotten damn near garbage level. Star Wars proper is complete trash. I hate to say this about my Man in Black, but even the Vader ones are getting pretty shitty with this whole schism Imperial nonsense. So that's why you haven't seen a lot of comic book coverage these days on the channel.
I think that what they need to do is like they need to unify their storytelling. Like they and this is what they struggled with before as well. Like before Disney took it over, is like they didn't have a unified storytelling methodology. And like now that you have everything kind of under one org, they should have a unified storytelling methodology where you don't have to kill a character in a book and then bring them back in a cartoon show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's problematic.
It just you need to do something like that.
We got old Nugget in here, McNugget, similar to the whole thing from Last Jedi. I could bite on that too. Remember the dark side hole that Rey jumps down?
Rey found herself in?
Maybe that's where the fucking Vergence is at.
I mean, it could also, similar to the Dark Side Cave from ESB.
Right, which you could argue itself is a Vergence in the Force, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like I was saying, like there are these places in the galaxy that we've seen before that have this not untapped, but like this concentrated Force energy that is just there for you to tap into. We saw it with the Dark Side Cave. We saw it in TLJ. We may be seeing one here. On Brendok. Yeah, it's things like that.
Okay. These are just questions I have for you as we kind of wrap this up and move into the fan segment here, Nick. But did any other Jedi over these 16 years learn of the Vergence on Brendok?
Man, that's a really good question.
Because they agreed to lie about it, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so, right?
Yeah, because they don't go there clearly. Vernestra still doesn't know the whole truth 16 years later when she's talking to Saul. So the next one is, what about Q and or his master that we think is lurking in the shadows? You would think the Darksiders floating around at this time period probably would be keyed into a Vergence in the Force as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a beacon, right? It's like you have this super powerful pulsating Force energy that can be sensed by Darksiders in the galaxy. And like, all we know is that on Brendok right after this, you got Coral and Meg. That's all who's left. And then, does Kamir feel this? Or do Coral and Meg go from Brendok and seek out somebody to exact their vengeance?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think that any other Jedi really come here, because here's still what needs to happen. Like, there needs to be some sort of like explanation to the Jedi Order how Torben got fucked up by Kelnaka, why Kelnaka is then stationed by the Jedi on KOTOR. He's essentially excommunicated, but they're not kicking him out of the order. And then like, a lot of questions around there. But in the Jedi's mind, they're like, look, these four were there. They dealt with whatever needed to be dealt with, and then that's it. We're not gonna go back again.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they came back, hey, no Vergence, we covered the whole planet. Sorry, see ya, we're done. Give us our report card. We did good.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. The other one I had here, and I might have mentioned this, but do you feel like Saul, or even this case, we could talk Indar, I think, are they the embodiment of the downfall of the Jedi in terms of making rash decisions and acting first before thinking? Saul, in particular.
it's an like, for lack of a better descriptor, for lack of a better like comparison, they're like Anakin and Obi-Wan, where Soul is Anakin and then Indara is Obi-Wan, where Anakin is always being rash and making decisions out of emotion and putting Obi-Wan in a bad spot. But what does Obi-Wan do? He justifies it, or he helps to pull Anakin out of these situations that should and could be dangerous for him. And then like just sweeps it under the rug. Like, okay, well, you know what? We did what we were supposed to do. Did it go exactly as it was supposed to? No, but you know what? Nobody got hurt, so we're fine. So I feel like Indara and Soul are almost a mirror to Anakin and Obi-Wan in their master Padawan relationship, where it's like Anakin and Soul are constantly putting Obi-Wan and Indara into shitty situations.
That's a good point. You are making news. You are making a good correlation here.
Yeah, but then Obi-Wan and Indara just deal with it.
Right, yeah.
And like that, they've become so used to dealing with their Padawans, like fuck ups, that it's just become normal to them. And I do think that like those two it is, I'm covering for your mistakes. And when you do that for hundreds of years, yeah, like shit falls apart.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, if you think about it, though, I mean, yeah, they're hubris, but their hubris is what allowed them, like, no, we know better. We're going to make this rash choice because we're the Jedi. Or no, our hubris also allows us to act without thinking because, hey, why do we need to do that? We're Jedi. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
But also, like, what Anakin had told to Obi-Wan multiple times in the prequel trilogy, we've been in worse situations before. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you should continue to put yourself in those bad situations. Okay. Like, they justify it because they get out of it. Like, they're like, oh, well, what's the worst that could happen? We were thrown into a nest of Gundarks and we got out of it. It's like, yeah, but did you have to be in that situation? Like, just because you got out of it doesn't mean that it was right in the first place. And when that keeps happening, you keep justifying things that you do wrong or you don't do the way that you should do. And then it leads to more shit like that happening.
Yeah, I think Tom's on to something here. Does Count Dooku's quote, "Twice the pride, double the fall," work on Soul? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean...
Huge. Maybe quadruple the fall for this guy because...
Yeah.
I mean, you really can. You can start drawing the through line that these 4 Jedi ultimately start the cascade of the downfall. The mistrust, the suspicious Senate. Who knows if that'll get picked up on 8? That's the other thing. Like, they dangle this Raven court and then we just go away from it for an entire episode. Is that who David Harwood's playing, or is he going to be the Sith Master in the end? Who knows? Yeah. Lots to get through in the finale. That's why it's a little scary.
And like Leslie said, like, she's got 3 or 4 more mysteries that she would like to dig into for season 2. So
that's a good point. She has said, and it's still, we got to see, but she has promised that, listen, when you get to the end of this first season, you will know the answers to the things propped up here. She's like, I'm not a creator that is just going to think that I'm going to get a second season and dangle a cliffhanger on you fucks. So it should resolve. And she's also said, like Nick has just related, that if she does get a second season, she has like new stories to tell. She wants to bring in other High Republic Jedi and possibly start folding in stuff like Yoda. So yeah, great stuff. Yeah, Will Harewood come out of that hole. It's that hole now. You guys got me. You guys got me kind of keyed on the hole. All right, it's the bung hole of Brendok, and yeah, I do see it being potentially important or impactful next week because we know they're going there. I mean, that we're going to talk about that in a second. I got one last question for Nick, and this one's kind of far out. But if we think about the Virgins, their little goofy song, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, are the witches all one being, or are they linked, kind of like a hive mind?
Yeah. So that's kind of how I thought of it, as like a shared consciousness that they can all tap into, but they don't all, it's not, it's like a shared consciousness that they can all access and tap into, but they're not like permanently.
Yeah, I wonder if Anastasia and Coral were just different or beyond some of the other ones? Like, could they all phase in and out, or was that just for Mother and Coral because of whatever shit they did with probably a dark side user to create their kids, or what? I mean, this whole like one or two beings out of one, is that just the witches and how they live? Are they exploiting the virgins that way, or was it just used to potentially split Anastasia into the twins? This is things that I don't know. Will it be answered next week? Who knows? Is it important if it does get answered? Again, who knows? So
yeah, I think that like here's what I don't want to get caught up in is like expecting every little question to get wrapped up, because I'll tell you right now, it's not going to. They're gonna wrap up the main storyline, the main character plots, and the main threads that are connected to Osha and May and Soul and stuff like that. Are you going to find out like, well, how exactly did they get conceived? You may not. Like, all you may get from that is like a broad stroke. Like,
and that's the problem with the 8-episode short runtime stuff, because
it's just like
goofs like us and you all listening, we would be down for that type of shit. Casuals, they may not really even need it or care.
Yeah, but like I'm gonna prepare all of you who are listening to this that like not every single question that you're gonna have is gonna be answered. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. The core threads, May Osha, Sol Kamir, Vernestra, I believe get resolved in some fashion. Some of the minutia, that could be dicey.
Yeah, it's just hard to get to that when you have limited runtime, you have limited episodes. So, Leslie has confirmed we are not going to learn more about Kamir this season because it's about Osha and May. So
I've also heard that she actually had to rewrite some episodes after seeing Manny embrace the role. I was like, no, this character needs to be different than we intended. So there could be a potential that he does persist if they get another season, but I hope it's done in a way that we're not waiting with bated breath. I hope it's like, well, Kamir's Kamir. If we see him again, great. If not, we kind of understood his role in this story.
I will pay all of my shill money that Disney has given me back if they will bring Kamir back as a character. Yeah, I'll give you all $15 million that you've paid me back, Disney, if you just bring Manny Jacinto and Kamir back as a character, live action character in Star Wars.
I'll even take like to just keep him half nude the whole time too. Why not?
Yeah, you don't even have to put clothes on. I don't care.
Yeah, don't even hire a costume department. He just walking around with his wang hanging out the whole time.
Just hit him with some dirt to make him look dirty, and then boom. That's it.
Yeah, he's going full nude in the helmet. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh man, well, League, we ain't gonna get a long finale. You know it. You know next week's. We are gonna be lucky if next week is the same length as this week, the 43 to 44. That's the most we've gotten in the entire season. Like that's the highest it's gotten. So, yeah, Kung Fu's right. Kamir's gonna end up like the Knights of Ren or Snoke, and their lore is gonna be played out in a 4 comic book run. Yeah, no, is Kamir on Pornhub already? All right, everyone's starting to get goofy now. All right, that must mean we're at the end of our breakdown of the Acolyte E7 choice. So, Nick, let's go ahead and tee things up. How do we play out? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, still based on lingering trailer footage, some scenes we're going to see, but how do you think it ultimately plays out next week?
I mean, we know we're heading back to Brendok. You know, that's kind of what we've been saying for a while in this series. You go back to the scene of the crime. Mm-hmm. You go back to the scene of the crime. I mean, we also know that at the end of episode 6, before Soul figured out he had May instead of Osha, he was dead set on going back to the council. And as soon as he realized that he had May, that changed. So
he needs his Osha. Clearly, we now know why he has such a bone for her, which is odd, pedo-like, and creepy. But hey, that's our buddy Soul.
That's just how he is. And so clearly we're heading back to Brendok. We know that there's going to be some sort of starfighter, kerfuffle within the rings of the Brendok moons. Yep. And I got to imagine that that's just the entry. Like you're just coming in. Yeah,
I think that'll probably be early on.
Going out.
The question to me, and I kind of have a guess. I have a feeling that May and Osha might have a walkie-talkie moment.
Yeah.
And that's how they know that one or the other is headed to Brendok, and that's when the next one will head as well, to kind of see what the fuck's going on. We spend the episode there. You might get a check-in. Well, you have to get a check-in with Vernestra. I just don't know if she's back on Coruscant or if she's still on her ship with Mog, trying to track these fuckers down. But I think all parties, all narrative threads end up on Brendok, like Nick said.
Yeah.
There's going to be a showdown. I don't want to. I have seen it's like kind of a behind the scenes still, and it's like, well, fuck. It's very clear who's holding a lightsaber and who's across from this character in a very Wild West-esque looking standoff.
Yeah. I mean, dude, here's what I'll say. I haven't seen this image that Matt has seen, so I have no context. I'm not doing anything spoiler related. But Tony in the chat just says episode 8 may be the first time we see Master and Apprentice versus Master and Apprentice. I have a feeling it may be Master, Apprentice versus Master. And not in the Jedi way.
Everyone teaming up on Soul.
Yeah, dude. Because if Osha seems like she's buying into Kamir's, stuff. Like really starting to, not necessarily buying, but open to exploring it. Open to not being as dismissive towards him as she initially thought. May already wants Soul dead. And I don't think that Soul telling May the truth
me too.
is going to help that out.
No, I don't really know how that helps at all.
Yeah, there's
it just to me it just reinforces in her mind that the Jedi are fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing that Soul said to May that is going to be like, well, you know what?
He's like, May,
I'm going to be on.
May, we're going to save your sister. We're going to go talk to these people. They all line up. And then May, Osha, and Kamir all give each other side eye. And they're like, all right, see you, Soul. Now, honestly,
then, dude,
Kamir takes out May. He still has that axe to grind. I'm calling it.
He does. He may as well. He may.
He needs May gone too, because May could be the only thing that steals Osha from him at this point. So take that to the bank. Kamir's taking out May. Osha's taking out Soul. Kamir then either gets taken out by Vernestra, gets away, or we learn the true Sith Master that says, "Listen, fuckers, get out of my yard." And that's that.
Yeah.
That's it. I think I nailed it right there. That's the kills. Kamir kills May. Yeah. Osha kills Soul. Kamir either gets taken out by Vernestra or the true Darksider.
And here's the thing too, is the big question is Vernestra coming? Right. We assume that she's gonna pick up on it and head to Brendok. But if Vernestra does show up, is it a 3v2?
Oh,
is it
I don't know. B-Mad might have hit a better one here. Kamir and Osha
take out.
There you go. Ahead. Run with it.
Yeah. Kamir and Osha take out Soul. Then Kamir says they have to kill May, and Osha turns on Kamir. Take it out. Take it to the bank. Yeah. I mean, could be. But it also could be, the way I'm seeing it is it could be Kamir, Osha, May versus Vernestra, Soul. And that would be a banger. That would be a banger. The problem is that the girls are unarmed. They don't have lightsabers.
Well, again, I don't want to say too much.
I mean, what could happen is at least Kamir busts off his secondary.
You remember,
he
keeps giving her his blade. I mean, he's like, yeah, you forgot this. You can't leave without this. So I would just say don't sleep on Osha possibly having a lightsaber, because we know he has given it to her. So.
Yeah, multiple times. So dude, I would really love to see it be a 3v2 and they take out both Soul and Vernestra. And then there's no fucking question.
And then they take out May, sacrifice her, and then Osha takes out Kamir and she's the winner.
But that's the thing, is Kamir was when in episode 6, Osha asks him what do you want? And he says the power of 2.
Right.
So does he mean I just want an apprentice?
Well, yeah, we talked about that last week. Is he talking rule of 2, or is he down with many that shit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's very possible. It would not be hard to convince both May and Kamir and Osha to go on Kamir's side. I think that May, while while Kamir definitely wants May dead, or like is upset with the way that May has gone about her mission, I think that he would welcome her back with Osha.
See, that's
as
what
well.
I'm thinking. I think he's done with her. He's turned the page. He believes in two only, so he's sticking with Osha. What I could see happening though is, you may be right here. May's probably going to be the one to ultimately convince Osha like Soul's bad.
Yeah.
Like, listen, he finally admitted to it, and I've seen it, but everyone's always blamed me as the asshole. He killed our mom. He broke in. Fuck him. He stole you. And I can see that being the final push for Osha to take him out.
If Osha realizes that literally Soul left May for dead, like not even left her for dead,
that's what I'm saying.
Caused her death, like.
Well, they lied. They lied to a child. They said we can't go back there because of Indara. So I think you could. It could almost be where the twins unite against everyone else.
That's going to happen. I think that's going to happen.
I mean, the twins truly could be the ones that are like, we finally get it. May, I finally understand what you're saying. Osha go, May, I'm sorry. I get it now. Fucked everyone.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the new Take It to the Bank.
I mean, Leslie has told us that the Knights of Ren, the Kylo Ren theme song played for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Played again this episode, by the way.
If we are to believe that Kamir can be a disconnected dark side presence, that's not like, it's very possible, because in this timeline too, there are disconnected dark side presences, the Nihil, like that are out there that are not connected to Plagueis, they're not connected to Tenebris, they're not connected to the line of like the rule of two line of Sith. Like,
bro, I mean, unaligned Force users are a thing in Star Wars, whether people want to accept it or not. I mean, it's here to stay.
100%. So, is Kamir literally trying to build a Knights of Ren style order that he is the leader of? Yeah. And like, do you
hear how much we're talking about though? And we only have one episode to maybe figure this all out. That's why I'm scared.
There's so much to unpack.
That's why I'm scared.
And it's like, because the thing is Kamir has said that he, in so many words, he didn't say it exactly, but Kamir has led us to believe that he has been, discarded by both the Jedi and the Sith.
Right.
So if that's the case, then he wants to do his own thing. What better way to start an order or start your own collective of Force users than taking the two most powerful
and other discarded apprentices?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you are building an army of misfits, of people who feel like they don't belong in society, that they have been discarded by the only order of Force users out there that they could be a part of, like the downtrodden, the forgotten, like building an order of those people, and how easy it would be to attract those type of people who feel disenfranchised. Right. Like, I think that could be an angle for Kamir.
There's so many great speculations to make for the finale. Hopefully it hits. I'm definitely nervous, but I'm keeping the faith, all right? I'm keeping the faith. Really, I mean, outside of episode 3 just feeling wonky as fuck, I still like the story, but the production there was goofy as shit. I really have no reason to doubt that it can hit the landing here. It seems like they've made it a little more difficult on themselves than probably needed. So we'll see next week. All right, man, let's go ahead and move on from this episode. Great conversation with all you in the stream. We're not done yet, though. This is our time to celebrate your happy asses. That's right, the Star Wars Time Show. We do a fan segment every week to end the show. We do Question of the Week. Just got to be checking Instagram at StarWarsTime.show, Twitter, I think it goes up there. The YouTube community, have at it. If the algo loves you and blesses you, you will be able to reply. So the way we rolled during in-season Star Wars, very easy. Did you like it? Did you not? Tell us why, Nick. All right, so here we go. We're asking about episode 7. We have responses from all platforms this week. Twitter.
There we go.
Fucking IG. YouTube. So let's kick it off.
All right.
I believe this is Toy Fanatic.
All right, Toy Fanatic here says, I felt that episode should have been on an earlier run since it will be the last episode next week. It made the show progress slowly. I could see that. Like doing a reveal, like almost making like episode 6 this one and then having 7 and 8 to be more.
Yeah, or you could have went.
On the closeout.
You would have been away from May and Kamir too long, but you could have just done 3 right into this episode, like perspective. Now let's move on with the present timeline only. But hey, whatever.
So I don't disagree there.
I think the creatives had the order the way it needed to be, but this one with the lack of present timeline check-in, you could make that argument.
Yeah.
All right. David Leonard here, Nick, a long one. Sorry about that.
Yes. All right. He says, episode 7 felt like the filler we were expecting, some good scenes and a welcome addition of more time with Carrie Ann Moss. I'm curious to know what it is she did to the witches. Clearly it was lethal. I was surprised by her actions and then her willingness to lie, but for the right reason of protecting Osha. Yeah, nice to see Tor. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, we kind of laid this out, and Dara's just as fucked up as the rest. She tried her. Yeah, she lasted the longest, but she made some awful choices.
I mean, what it all comes down to is self-preservation. Like for all of these Jedi,
fear.
Yeah, fear and like I have to make sure that I'm okay more than anything else.
Damn Skippy.
So David continues here. He says, nice to see Torpin do some skilled lightsaber wielding. I kind of think both he and Sol should be a lot worse for wear after going up against a Wookiee Jedi. I mean, like we were saying, Torben should have probably been dead.
Dude's got a thick cranium, no doubt.
Yeah, he's got a very thick skull. I wonder if there was an actual transfer of power from the mother to May. If so, is that the reason she doesn't seem to remember that Sol killed her mother? I think he means Osha in this instance and not May. Or did the power not transfer over due to her death?
Yeah, I don't think it was a power transfer. They were both phasing. I think it was literally sucking her away, kind of like Harry Potter can do in a fucking chimney.
Yeah, like she was trying to get to Osha or like get to somewhere where she could save her
They filmed
dog.
it kind of weird, but from where Torben, Sol, Mother, and Coral are at, May's on the opposite side, looking right at her mom, almost crying, saying, help me. And she goes, you bet, baby. Phase, stab, I'm dead, fuck.
Yeah, it's almost like a teleport. It's kind of how I read it too, Matt. Yeah. Lastly, I really liked how the facial markings on the mother symbolically represents the twins and how the spiral line goes towards her mouth, perhaps indicating visually that her choice to allow Osha to be a Jedi ultimately leads to a massive sacrifice.
Smarter than us, so good.
That was, I mean, that is really,
good,
that's
good
some
pick
really
up
good
there, man. We'll just trust you on that one. All right, next.
Yeah. Yes. Next up, Tones 1138. Tones says, really enjoyed this week's episode. Granted, there was a good amount we had already seen, but I appreciated the alternate explanation / perspective on how it all went down. Kalnaka's possession and saber duel was awesome, and this was definitely the highlight of this week's show for me. Really enjoying the soundtrack to the show, too. Some great orchestral music to it for sure. Roll on next week and hopefully a satisfying conclusion to the series. Mando Mugshot says, best episode yet. Loved seeing some Wookiee Jedi action, much better choreography in this episode. This is without a doubt the best Disney era story writing we've had, albeit a few cringe moments and legacy character changes. So Mando Mugshot's in.
Mando is the embodiment of how this show from week to week just makes people completely change their opinion on it.
I know it's all just like
because you remember Mando didn't like episode 5, the one the world liked. He's like, the lightsabers were bullshit. This is the Acolyte, and I dig it because it equals SWTS getting some fucking engagement. So who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Keep the divisiveness coming, Disney, please.
Keep doing it. Johnny Osage with his weekly spotlight. We love Johnny and his takes on the show. Que pasa SWTS, which means how's it going, Star Wars Time Show. He says, cue the harps. We're getting a flashback. Good episode. Basically, we knew all this. If you've been following the SWTS, trophies are coming.
Finally.
That's right.
Here you go. Here's someone finally paying us our respect.
Yes. And he says, so what's up with Dirty Man Soul? You come up on 2 kids and you already want the discarded one as your Padawan. Stranger danger. But hey, what organized religion isn't a little sketch? I mean, he's not wrong.
Dude,
He's
Johnny
not
nails
wrong.
it every week.
I mean, Johnny's just got the best takes, man. One more to go. This has been some entertaining Star Wars, and the cherry on top was the T-Swift style song during the credits. Is she the Acolyte?
It's actually sung by Victoria Monet.
There you go.
Whoever the fuck that is.
There you go. I don't know who it is, but hey, they did they did a good job. Next up, 2797 Studios Bat in the chat, but Bat had to get on out of here. He says, Soul, what are you doing? In my opinion, he never should have gone into that fortress. It wasn't his place. He knew nothing of the culture or the rituals. He hasn't the Prime Directive taught us anything. Prime Directive from Star Trek, for those of you who don't know. Then his personal feelings, and his desire to have a Padawan. And speaking of Padawans, Torben, you impatient fool. And then we have his master Indara taking out all the witches with a Jedi mind trick to save old Kelnaka, who was pretty badass, kicking some Jedi booty. I enjoyed it overall, but I keep going back to this Star Wars being for the CW. It's what I get from this show. It's all right. I'm enjoying it at a certain level, and I'm definitely invested in the ending next week. But yeah, this could have been shown on the CW and been wildly popular. I mean, probably so. Probably so.
But it's a CW. I think they only run Live Golf these days that like 200,000 people watch. So I don't know. I don't know if the network exists in full.
Yeah. I am not a committee. What a good name here. Really love this episode. I've been wanting this story since the second episode, and I'm glad we got it. I'm glad this cover-up is literally a big mistake, makes me feel better about the Jedi, and humanizes them. Only downside was no Khmer, but we'll get that next episode. That's what I've been saying this whole time. It's the human. You're seeing the human side of the Jedi, and that's why I love it. Like, the Jedi have always been portrayed to you outside of Anakin Skywalker as robotic, non-emotional people who, like, when emotion comes in, they run and hide or they get scared of it. Like, this is like seeing the human side of the Jedi and how their humanity affects them is good storytelling. Yeah. It's good storytelling.
But bad writing.
But bad writing. Yes. Next up, EKU Rory. He says, Wookiee Jedi fight scene. Love that. Hope they tie things up in the last episode. Same. No Jar Jar comments from
no,
Rory.
He's taking this one pretty seriously. Him and his little girl, it's kind of like their weekly thing, which is awesome. So he's invested. He's invested.
Yeah. Mando Pirate, what a good episode. So much to process. Soul is a dirty Jedi. He wanted a Padawan so bad because Indara teased him. Seeing Kelnaka go ham with his saber was the best part of the episode. I'm looking forward to next week's episode, even though I don't know how satisfying it'll be. I really wish these episodes could be longer, but it is what it is. Baba Booey.
That's right. Baba Booey to you. Tata Tutti. Flo Flunky.
Lady Elaine 24, our special guest for this season. She says, glad to find out what happened on Brendok, but I think even though she tried to prevent conflict with the witches, Indara is the bad guy. Wow, yeah. By not telling the truth to the council. Very true. Soul comes off as a wuss when it comes to standing up to her, so it's no wonder he has been so conflicted. I still wonder about Mother Coral, who disappeared in a puff of smoke. The fight between Kelnaka and Soul and Torben was amazing.
Look at this lady processing Star Wars like a pro.
Wookiee action. So this is from my buddy Phil. He says Wookiee action was great. Still no explanation on of how the witch castle exploded. So I think from that one, Phil, when you look at that door scene when May accidentally drops the thing and the fire starts to spread, you see pretty clearly it's getting into the electrical system. That fire is spreading through the electrical system.
Yeah, I mean, we said that in episode 3, but since we didn't get that angle, we're like, it seemed a little potent, but we did kind of leave that door cracked.
Yeah. So I think that's the explanation there. He also says no explanation for why the witches suddenly died. That was Indara. Definitely, like, Indara is infiltrating the witches through Kelnaka's mind and is trying to essentially push them out of his head, and I think unintentionally sends it's
a kill signal.
Powerful,
essentially, she kill switched him. Literally.
Yeah, like sends a powerful force through
it was almost
them
like
that
you could
just
see
kills them
the
all.
witches are doing their kumbaya. They start to like shake a little bit. Then there's a done. It's like fucking liquefied.
Yeah, I mean, and then Indara lying to the council seems really out of character. I mean, yeah, because at that point she is also a murderer. Like,
yeah.
like
that,
what? Like when
shit was
she
so
decides,
bad, she had no choice.
Yeah. It's like at that point, your choice is literally self-preservation and lie, or we go and tell the truth, and we all literally may be executed.
And she hides it behind, well, this is for Osha's benefit. How could you take that away from her soul after we took everything else?
Yeah, saying that this is for Osha's benefit is the biggest cop out.
And then the
ever.
best part is, like Kamir hinted, it may have been Indara and some of the others saying, "Yo, Osha, just get the fuck out of here. Like she's too dark. We can't do this."
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh well, you know.
Holy shit!
It's crazy, but yeah, I mean,
more.
your two options for Indara at the point after she kills all of the witches are: we either tell the truth, turn ourselves in, risk imprisonment, execution, excommunication, or we lie and we preserve ourselves. Self-preservation. Next up, B Mad here. He says, Wookiee with a lightsaber, enough said. Enough said. Zachariah Yatarik 2049 says the witches and combat scenes were great considering this was 6 episodes in the making. It wasn't as powerful of an episode as I expected. I totally understand that. Pinpoint Red says, I loves this episode. Probably my second favorite after episode 5. Had all the stuff I enjoyed from episode 3 plus badass Wookiee Jedi combat. There we go.
And our first Twitter.
Our first Twitter, Jeff
I refuse
DJ.
to be the X formerly known as Twitter fuck. Like, just call it Twitter. Fuck him. Like, he's an idiot.
Yeah, just it's Twitter.
And it's proven he's idiot. Like, that platform has like zero growth these days. The article just came out. Like, it's done.
Yeah, no, it's he nuked that thing pretty quickly. Jeff DJ says, I like the episode except for the unnatural cut at the end. It's like they cut to black too soon or something.
They did
it's
it
kind
twice,
of off-putting.
actually.
They did do. It was a very quick.
The first one, I honestly was like, okay, fuck you. Like, if this is it, fuck off. And then,
oh yeah, I thought it was over too. I was like, what?
Then you get the new angle of the Jedi on the ship, aftermath style, and then it's just like quonky. Blue Leslie next week. See ya.
So there we go. So
all right.
Hey man, that was good stuff. And like I love the interaction that we've been getting during the show. I love the interaction that we've been getting in the live chat. For those of you who may be with us for the first time, because it seems like we got some first time chatters in here, we appreciate your level of activity. We appreciate your questions and takes.
Just keep coming back when the show's over.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave us. We do this dumb shit every Wednesday.
We do it every week, and we always love the interaction. So hit that subscribe button. That's for free. But hey, if you like us enough and you want to become a channel member, you can become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month. You get yourself that green $1.99. You get yourself that nice green name. You get yourself a little avatar.
Booth. I'm probably too old. That's like from Adam Sandler's first comedy album, Toll Booth Willie, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then, so you get yourself some nice little perks for $1.99.
Oh, don't you worry, Mr.
emotes.
Doty. We will have Star Wars content for you from the end of the Acolyte all the way to the debut of Skeleton Crew. That's what we do. Because there's always time for Star Wars time, God damn it.
Devin knows how it goes here.
And we've got a list of special topics coming out our assholes, so we'll be getting right back to that stuff.
That's right. All right.
Here we go.
So, to end this show,
let's do it.
We're going to move into our top 5 Star Wars fan arts features of the week. To get involved with this one, just make sure you, 1, follow us at StarWarsTime.show on Instagram, and 2, if you are posting to Instagram your Star Wars photos, images, anything like that, art pieces, make sure to tag us. Tag at StarWarsTime.show on the old Instagram. That is how you fall into our tagged feed, and that's where I pull the top 5 from. So to get started with this week's top 5, we have at Mr. Stormtrooper Davis. Mr. Stormtrooper Davis is hitting us with an awesome recreation.
Real quick on this one, and he's Mr. Toy Lord too.
I know. I
He
saw
did
it, yeah.
okay. I just want to make sure you saw that these were essentially a tandem shot. The Black Series version of this, and then Lego. Go ahead.
The Lego, yeah, the Lego was awesome too. But yes, I did pick the Black Series one. So what we see here is a scene recreation from Rogue One's Vader hallway scene, where Vader just goes through and massacres a bunch of rebels in the hallway of the before he gets to the Tantive 4, the hallway leading into the Tantive 4. So Vader in his classic suit, red lightsaber ignited, smoke red all around them from his lightsaber and the blaster bolts. Just a masterful recreation of this scene from Mr. Stormtrooper Davis.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you've done this before, getting the rebels in those poses, that's really the magic of this shot. It is like Vader is Vader, man. You know what I mean? Like he always looks good. But getting the guy floating up there, the other guy where he looks like he just got hit and he's crumpled to his knees, all great posing there.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Moving on to the next one here. This guy's in the chat. Mr. Blue Wrench, super scoundrel, hitting us with the amazing Khmer.
Let me try to go ahead, keep talking it up.
So Devin's hitting us with the amazing Khmer vector art image here. And I mean, just like Devin is the master of this art style for Star Wars related art. And I mean, he just did an incredible job of bringing Khmer to life in vector art and putting his signature line on the image with him. I've accepted my darkness.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I still want a foil paged art book from my man Devin. You know, like over the years, just flip. It would be such a great thing to just have sitting on a coffee table, have people flip through and be like, "Oh, look at that! Ooh, look at that!
I know.
That's sexy! Ooh, that's hot!"
Coffee table book with all the Devin's artwork in it. Yes, sign me up.
Calling for it.
Sign me up.
All right.
So yeah, as always, at super_scoundrel on the Instagram. Make sure to follow if you haven't. Devin is a true master of this art form. Next up, we have another true master here. This is 97_parsecs_photography hitting us with this awesome Mandoverse-esque scene here so with cool. Bo-Katan cries and our Din Djarin there fighting their way out of a Rancor pit. And this is the Rancor from. Is this the Rancor from Book of Boba?
Nah, I think this is the one from Force Unleashed because it's got that battle paint on it.
The paint on it. Yeah, paint on it. So
it's just I love his fat head and arm trying to grab Din.
Yeah, come through. And I mean, like the scene, like the scene setup here is amazing. Yes. You're seeing all the bones of the fallen combatants of the Rancor past, the temple style setup that he has here, the posing of both Bo-Katan and of Mando.
Isn't Bo going like, "God damn it, Din again"?
It's like, get the fuck out. Why do I always have to do this to you? You're always fucking falling down. But yeah, man, I mean, 97 Parsecs Photography. Robert is just an incredible toy photographer and is amazing at bringing scenes like this to life.
One of the best scene creators out there, no doubt.
For sure. So make sure to follow at 97_parsecs_photography on Instagram. Next up, we have Quick Picks Toys. And Quick Picks Toys gives us a little side scene from ROTJ.
Read the caption. But you got to read it. You got to read it the right way.
Yes, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Yeah, all right.
So we see the Ewoks here bringing in R2D2 into their Ewok coven, right? They're a coven too. They tapped into some things with their Ewok celebration. But yeah, so we see Wicket, we see Paplu, and then we see what's the other one? Man. I'm remembering Logray.
Is it
maybe
Logray?
Logray.
Yeah, it might be.
It may be Logray.
With like the boar's head helmet.
Yeah. So all sitting there talking with R2D2, poking them around, seeing like, what is this magical thing that has landed on our planet? So
I love when he starts shooting Wicket in the ass with his little electric prong in Return of the Jedi.
It might be Tebow. Maybe it's Tebow from Tony.
There you go.
But
all right.
Yeah, good stuff here from Quick Picks Toys.
Yeah, he's right.
Always
That's definitely
fun.
Tebow. It's Tebow, and then Paplou's the one in white. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, so there we go. Good stuff. At Quick Picks Toys
That's
on
right.
Instagram. Make sure to follow. And to close out this week's top 5, we have an awesome shot here from at Drew Originals. I see that Drew just popped into the chat.
All right.
Drew here giving us a look at our prequel warriors, as he says. We got Ki-Adi Mundi, we got Ayala Secura, or
High
Ayla
Republic
Secura.
Ki-Adi, or we know this is old man Ki-Adi now.
That's right. The big dummy of the Jedi Order, this guy. And then Kit Fisto and Plo Koon here, all on a Republic battlefield with their clones behind them and the fallen bodies of droids in front of them, and their action poses one last time before they get taken out by the warriors that they called their allies at one point.
Yeah, I mean, we really only got this in the Battle of Geonosis, because after that, each Jedi became a general of a separate battalion. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you gotta love seeing the knights all flared out, getting ready to kick some ass, and each one of these die by the end of Revenge of the Sith. So.
Yeah.
Tough shit.
I mean,
sucks for you and your hubris that Master Saul and Endara kind of permeated throughout the Order.
Yeah, it's a tough one for the Jedi in these coming years for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, awesome posing, awesome background work here from at Drew Originals on Instagram. Make sure to give them a follow. And hey, that is the end of our top 5. And that is the end of our show for this week. So Matt, go ahead and close us out.
All right, people, another fun one. And like I said, it's almost become a drug again, doing the show, talking about Star Wars, having something that, we may not all think is the gospel or great, but we all have some form of excitement. We're all intrigued in some fashion with the Acolyte. And if you really think about it, even if you don't love this shit, just interacting with fans again and trying to have civil conversations and trying to theory craft. Like I've actually been yelled at for theory crafting. They're like, quit trying to write the story for Disney. It sucks. I'm like, dude, where have you been? Like this is what Star Wars content creation used to be. I promise you all, before Star Wars theory broke bad, his name made sense. Like he actually would put out nice theory crafting and speculation shit. That's the fun of Star Wars. That's what I'm loving about the Acolyte. If it doesn't stick the landing next week, I'll make sure to take a shit on it in some capacity. But I'll wait until I see the full story play out. So, people, it's been fun again. Live streamers, you've absolutely been killing it these past 6 weeks. Thanks to the Acolyte. Thanks to the new fans, like Nick said. We appreciate you. That just kind of keeps that feed scrolling by like we are a big channel. And you long timers know that's all Matt's always, that's all I've ever wanted. I just, we want the engagement. We don't want the money. We kid about the shill stuff. We're pulling all that money together, and we are going to send it back to Disney at the end of the run of the Acolyte. Because we just want you here, having a good time or getting angry at us, challenging our opinions. This is the fun aspect of being a Star Wars fanboy, fangirl, fan person, whatever you want to call yourself. All right, my friends, you know where to go at the end of the show, or at least where to tell new disciples how to find the show. That is StarWarsTime.net. You got it right there, front and center. If you're on the stream, take a look at it. We might not put out as much content as we used to. It doesn't matter. It's still an important place on the internet. There's always time for Star Wars Time. You can get all our social links over there. If you don't really like the live stream, because Nick and I may look too offensive to you, you don't like my purple lights, you can always listen to the show one day after. It goes up on most podcast platforms that humans would use that aren't stupid technical humans. Again, StarWarsTime.net for all that stuff right there. Click on the podcast. You got them all. Sub it up. All we ask, leave some ratings, leave some reviews on those podcast platforms. If you are a YouTuber, StarWarsTime.net still means something to you too. You can send people there to find the easy to sub link in our right sidebar. Make sure to check out our content. We drop shorts throughout the week now. Nick cuts up the cast. I cut up my review because YouTube has determined if Star Wars Time Show puts out a video longer than 1 minute, no one gets to see it. But if they put out videos under a minute, thousands can see it and then yell at them for not having a full video. But that's life. with the SWTS. Love you all right? Be kind to someone this week. Try not to shit on their opinions about Star Wars unless they deserve it, okay? We all know who those types are. Don't forget, people, there's always time for Star Wars time. And if you listen to this little show and these two stupid people, the Force will be with you always.